Hello, brothers. How is everyone doing today? Are you brothers ready for another groundbreaking classic live stream? Oh, first and foremost, brothers, let me just shout out a couple cash outs that I got today, right before the stream. I want to say a huge shout out to Jalil Davis for the £7.38 cash app. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. I also want to say a huge shout out to Michael Contave for the £7.36 cash app. Cash app. He says, "For I'll show my appreciation before the stream starts." Thank you, brother. I want to say a huge shout out to my old subscribers for the support over the last few years. It is much appreciated, brothers. And I want to say welcome aboard to my new subscribers. You are joining a very powerful movement. You know, this movement is going to grow bigger and bigger, and you're saving your life, you're saving your career, you're saving everything about you by joining this movement. Without in this live stream, we have a very special guest here again. For those who don't know who he is, this is Theo AF, who has contributed to the passport community and space. We'll be speaking about Thai women and how it is dating women in Thailand. But before we speak about that, Theo, do you mind introducing yourself to the audience, who you are, what you do, why you travel, why you started traveling? Speak on that, brother.
Hey there, guys. My name is Theo. WAF stands for Web Application Firewall. I am a IT cloud security specialist and web application firewall specialist. I spent around 16 years, actually 17 years total in Japan, 4 years, just over 4 years as a child, and then over 12 and a half years as an adult. I spent 1 year in Russia and 1 year in France. So I've been pretty much all around the world. I've been to almost every continent except for Antarctica. And I was married before in Japan. I had a Japanese wife. And fortunately, she passed away. After that is when the real fireworks began, and I did crazy dating all over the place. I'm currently located here in Austin, Texas. I've been in America now for the last 10 years, and I'm actually starting to go back to doing international again. The reason why I joined this channel, I saw International Passport popped up, of course, with YouTube's analytics. I'm a part of the manosphere, part of the Crimson Capsule, as you could say. And I decided to go ahead and give my experiences and my kind of like my lessons learned here as a kind of like a dump to educate other men and to help them to kind of figure out how to do dating in the world, particularly as a Black man. So what the expectations are, what's going to happen, how you have to deal with situations. And I'm just going to be as honest as I possibly can. I'm here basically to help you guys out. And this is what I did a lot of times when I was in Japan. There would be a guy who just came off the airplane and he'd come into the dormitory where I was living, or he'd come into the office where I was at, and he didn't have any idea what he was doing. And I would give him the lowdown of how to date, how to eat food, and where to buy clothing, where to buy food, where the restaurants to go to, how he should approach the market. And some of those guys got married and some didn't. So, what can I say? I just give as much as I can. You guys, maybe take the advice and do something with it. Some of you will, some of you won't.
Shout out to Theo for that powerful intro. I've got a couple cash apps and super chats. Let me read that real quick. Shout out to Jalil Davis for the £14.73 cash app. He says, for the GOAT, Theo is back. Shout out IP. Thank you so much, Jalil Davis, for the cash app, bro. It is much appreciated, brother. I've got a super chat here first from Elephant Room 219, $10. He says, Theo is back. Yes, Theo is back again to drop that 007 James Bond intel. So I can't wait for that. Shout out to Theo and shout out to Elephant Room 219. A couple more super chats, brothers. Give me a second. Shout out to CJ for the $2 super chat. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. And of course, shout out to the legendary Tony Berry, aka Tokyo64, for the $5 super chat. He says, Theo is back in the house. Yes, indeed. So let's carry on with the stream. So Theo, what were you doing in Thailand in the first place? Was it for work? Was it for holiday? And how long did you spend there in Thailand? Speak on that, bro, before we
in
get into the women.
in Thailand. So I was there on holiday. So every time that I was actually in Thailand, I was with my wife, to tell you the truth. So I wasn't actually dating in Thailand, but that doesn't really matter because ultimately, in the end, the most women of any nationality that I've ever been with is Thai. So it happened after her. But I was in what, Penani, I think it is, and I was in Bangkok, and I was in other areas. There's a tour bus that would just take us to different places. My late wife was a travel agent, and so she would just tell me like, we're going to go to this island or we're going to go to this place in Thailand, and it was from there that I could actually tell how Thai women operated. And as I told her, I was like, you need to keep me away from these women because um, these I thought Japanese women were like drugs. Thai women to me were like straight like liquid in the air crack cocaine.
Damn.
And so I needed to stay away from them because I knew that I would just gyrate right towards them. And after she passed, that's exactly what happened.
Oh, fantastic, bro. So you said, so for your breakdown of cities you were in, so you said you were in Bangkok and you were in
Mm-hmm.
Panini. So is that Pannini?
P A I will Pattani,
Okay,
and I never Pattaya city, Patania city. I was there. I was boring, but it was a good beach. I had some fun there. Um, I went to Tak. I remember that. Ugh. Interesting place. Wife did some art stuff there, monk stuff. She wanted to see some Buddhist stuff over in that area. I have no idea why. So I remember being there and just saying like, okay, I'm gonna stay at the hotel. I'm gonna go outside and walk around. You go do your thing, and that's what she did. So that was fun. But I remember there were just a series of small islands. So I'm looking at the map right now. I was in Koh Samu. That's right, that island. That was in that area. There's like a bunch of islands off of Thailand, and you could just take like a boat out there, and she would arrange it that us for to go out there, and it was like total resort. It was like a movie, and wonderful. And that's where there was like Russian women out there, Brazilians, Koreans, like all kinds of women out there. And so for the most part, I was a pretty loyal husband. And so I was like, okay, let's not go out. Like, or let's go out in the morning. Like, let's not, because there's so much eye candy. So just keep me away. And that's how it went down most of the time.
fantastic, Theo. Okay, so Theo, let's get straight into it. Are Thai women checking for brothers? You know, particularly in Thailand, based on what you've seen,
Oh,
are they checking heavy for brothers?
yes. I've Thai and black men go really well together.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's kind of like my favorite is a darker Thai,
mm,
and it seems really like natural. And one of the things I studied before I went to Japan is DNA studies related to scent. And they said I was reading the papers about it. If your DNA is closer to a woman's DNA, she's going to stink. But if it's really far, then she's gonna smell like perfect. She's like gonna smell like a sweet perfume, even if she's not wearing perfume. And so I noticed this first with Japanese women. Japanese women smell wonderful to me, but then Filipinas were like got me in heat. Thai, their DNA must be super far because I was out of my mind with Thai women. I didn't know what to do. And that's part of the reason, again, when I was with her, with my wife, I stayed away. When she was gone, I did not. And um, they like they were always like had that look towards me. And it was really hard to describe. like I had in one way I had some of the complexion, kind of same skin tone as a lot of the guys there,
Hmm.
and so I was just that I was bigger, I was more muscular, and I was taller. But I'll go again. Those points we didn't really talk about like my height, but the girls digged it. I mean, I knew that, um, and they just gave me the look all the time, and so yeah, I knew what was going on.
That's crazy, bro. Shout out to Derek Taylor for the £14.74 Cash App. Thank you, Derek. Much appreciated, brother. Hope you're keeping well. Derek says, for respect IP, Theo, light this mother up. Yes, let's do this, Theo. So going on from that point, so they're definitely checking for brothers. But why are they checking for brothers so much, Thai women? What is the main factor apart from, similarities, possibly in terms of skin tone? But what is that? Because I find that Thai Filipino women love brothers, and
Yeah,
Japanese women. But when it comes to white boys, it's Korean, Chinese women. But for brothers, it's Thai. Or why is that, brother?
I don't know. It's kind of like this really great magnetic synergy, and um, it's really hard to explain. So the only women outside of Thai that I kind of felt this way towards was Czech. I don't know why it was with Czech. I don't know. It was kind of strange with them, but with Thai, they're really open, and the girls they act conservative, which is what they are. They're actually rather conservative, but if they like you, almost anything goes. And so they have this really childish way about them, and it was just, I mean, there was white guys all around. I mean, I remember in Thailand and also in Japan, there were white guys there, but they were never getting the stares that black guys were getting, and
Damn.
I could tell that, and I was getting stares like all the time. And so it was just, it's hard to describe. They're just they gave it, they had the fixation, and it was just a question of whether or not I wanted to execute. So yeah,
Oh my goodness, that's crazy, Theo. So Theo, going on from there, would you say that Thai women are feminine, like Japanese women, or are they more feminine than Japanese women, or are they just not feminine? On a scale out of 10, how feminine are Thai women towards brothers? Speak on that, Theo.
they're feminine.
Damn.
Yeah, they're very hyper feminine. So one of the things I said here, God, I'm glad Tony's in the chat because he can comment on this. I always said a Japanese woman can take you, and it's very hard to leave a Japanese woman because she's got you. But Thai was like Japanese women on steroids, and like even the Japanese guys were going to Thailand. And I was like, I understand why. Like for a while, I was like, why are you guys doing this? And then I was in Thailand. I was like, I understand. I get it. Um, they the women are extremely feminine. I never sense any feminism in them. Even when I'm here in the United States, there are some Thai here in Austin. They're all super feminine also. Like, it
Damn.
doesn't matter how long they're in the States, they're just feminine, extremely feminine. No negativity, no arguments with them. If you just have to treat them halfway well, and you get this wonderful experience with them. Um, Pleasant, charming. It almost is as if they were like an open book. That's the way I always thought about them. It just, you have this argument between Thai and Japanese, and I kind of agree with Tony, is that the Japanese woman is the wife, but you still have the eye on the Thai girl. So yeah, there,
This is crazy, Theo. Wow.
yeah.
More feminine than Japanese women? That's crazy.
Mm.
Shout out
That's
to
my
Jalil. So, carry on, bro.
that's my personal opinion. I mean, some guys might disagree with that. I don't know what it was with them, but this was mine. I was like, I cannot believe how good it was. Anyway, super chat. I'm good.
All right, awesome, bro. Shout out to Jalil for the $10 super chat. He says, I know you get to this later, but what are the biggest warnings about Thai women to look out for? You said before that they leave early. Can you delve on that a bit? Sorry if I'm early with this. No problem, brother. Theo, can you answer that question, brother?
Okay. This is something I noticed also, and it seemed as if they had eyes that wandered.
Oh,
And I couldn't necessarily define it. And then I had more than one Westerner come up to me and tell me to be worried and say, these women engage in hypergamy. And if they can find a better deal, they will. Now, that being stated, I knew quite a number of Thai women. I never saw one of them be disloyal. So I have to give them that. I never saw them cheating. However, I was unsure myself, and I did see the eyes. I kind of saw like a wandering eye. And so this is why I was a bit more hesitant to maintain relationships with them. If I could have figured out how to maintain a relationship with a Thai woman where I was 100% sure, I would have gotten with, like when I was probably 36, I would have gotten with a maybe 21-year-old who had a junior college education. There's plenty of junior colleges in Japan, and there's Thai women there. Some of them are exchange students. I would have gotten one of them, married her up, and I'd have like 5 kids right now.
wow.
Yeah, straight up. I would have been unstoppable with it.
This is
But
crazy, Theo.
yeah, but that is, there's, again, we're talking about Japan in here. I would never have like a deep philosophical conversation with a Thai woman. Whereas with Japanese women, I had, like with my wife, I had deep philosophical conversations about all kinds of stuff. And like like hiragana and the history of kanji and why it moved in a certain way. We had huge conversations about this. Philosophy of Bushido, comparison of like what Western capitalism and then Japanese capitalism, the history of capitalism in the world. I remember those kind of conversations. I had it with her and her family. Like really deep stuff. Um, Religion comparison. I'd have those kind of conversations with my wife. I never even came to that kind of level with a Thai woman. It just wasn't like that. But in terms of straight out attraction, it was kind of like I couldn't keep my hands off her.
Mm.
So that was the difference. It wasn't like, what can I say? It was like the Japanese woman was a reflection of my soul, but you know, the Thai woman, the neighbors knew her name, so because I was screaming it out like so loud. So that was the difference between them. Yeah. So okay, I'm ready for the next one.
All right. So, Theo, okay, going on to the next question, right? Can you please tell us the best cities to go to in Thailand to meet women that are actually checking for brothers based on your experience? Break down the
Hmm.
city, towns, places, break it all down, brother. The floor is yours because I think that's very important location. Are they checking for us more heavy in Bangkok or in Pattaya? Speak on that more, brother. What cities, towns, and places are they checking for heavy?
Okay. I want some guys to come up here and later on and talk about this too, because I don't know if I'm the only guy who had to worry about this. So Bangkok, I don't recommend dating in there, because there were too many women who were too well aware of foreigners, and it was more like, am I going after you or are you going after me? It was kind of like Roppongi on steroids there as well. And so I didn't know exactly what was going on. And then I was actually also worried about underage girls. So again, that was my feeling when I was there. And then also I was worried about transformers, as we say,
Mm,
transformers.
yeah.
Um, so I saw quite a number of transformers there. And then
Uh,
I saw people that I didn't know. I was kind of like iffy, like, is this, I don't know what's going on with you. Um, so because of that, I can't give a good recommendation for Bangkok. I'm sure there's other guys who have really great intelligence for that, but that wasn't the way that I saw it. The way I did see, um, was the the beaches. Any of the beaches, if you go there, and if you can go to areas, again, I'm big on restaurants. So going to restaurants or cafes, but particularly the beach areas where you can kind of get away, and there were more natural women. It seemed like a more natural Thai experience. That is where I recommend actually hooking up, and there are plenty of them. So I'm looking at some of the places where I've been in. I've been in, yeah, Rayong. Yeah, that's. I don't speak Thai. I mean, I had to really depend on like Roman characters. Thai, I could never understand the language. I'm pretty good with languages, but I could never get a hang of this one. So yeah, Rayong. I would just remember that just being really relaxed, nice beach. Um, Patani, what was it down there in the south? Yeah, Patani area. There were beaches out there that we were going towards. What else? Oh, I remember that. It's really close to the border. Um, Ke Kelantan. And that's almost
Write that in the group chat, please, Theo.
okay.
For those
Kelantan.
names.
Kelantan. I would go to these kind of areas where there may not necessarily look like a lot of foreigners are there. A lot may not look like it's really upscale, but it look more down to earth. And there's nice beaches, and that's where the Thai would maybe be working to do the service industry, and they would have like more of a family structure. And those are the areas where, like, if I were going to go on the prowl, that's exactly where I would go, because I saw a lot of good girls there. Um, I mean, ultimately, though, of course, where we're talking about my experience with Thai women, of course, is I've talked to live other stream with Singapore, and then Tokyo itself. That's where which is like a super executor there. But in Thailand, I do not recommend Bangkok. If other guys have experience and they can come talk with it, great. I'm not going to rain on your parade. I looked at it and I was like, I'm scared. Like, what am I getting into? Like, so if I was a single guy there, I didn't know how to ascertain risk there. And it was more of an ethical risk. Is this a 16-year-old? Is this a 15-year-old? Is this a working girl? Has this girl been with 100 guys already? Or is this a man? Yeah. I didn't know. And so I was rather worried about that. I'm sure there's other guys who were like, "Oh yeah, go to this one area. There's no transformers or normal girls." I'm like, "Okay, good. Bring it up. Like, go ahead." But I didn't notice that in Bangkok.
Shout out to Phil for that very valuable intel there. Shout out to Jay Bones for the $2 super chat. He says, with Thai women, you have to be dominant at all times. Interesting. Is that true, Theo?
Correct. This is something that I learned, and that influenced my Crimson Capsule thinking later on. And it was that with my Japanese wife, I wasn't always dominant all the time. I was more of the blue pill guy. And I was sometimes I was thinking about partnerships. Whereas with Thai, I was like, I had to be the man. And also with Filipino, had to be dominant. And I kind of took this later on, and I was like, oh yeah, it isn't just with Thai women. You got to do it with all women. It's just that I was aware of it with Thai. And it was easier to be dominant with them. Like, I would never want to be blue pill or submissive or even partnership with them. I just straight out lead. Like, because they give it to you. Like, you're more than encouraged to be a leader with them. Like, they are so feminine. You can't, if her femininity doesn't bring your leadership out in your masculinity, I don't know what will. Because with Japanese women, that's what I had almost immediately was a masculine frame with them. With Thai, that's all I had. And that's again what Jay Bone is saying. If you lose your frame at all with them, goodbye. It's not going to work.
So, yeah, I think you mentioned a very good point there to focus on the beaches. Thank you very much for that, Theo. Because, again, my following question was going to be the Transformers issue. And that's the reason why I really don't have time on my list unless you can change my mind and other brothers can do. That Transformers issue is a big thing there in Thailand. I don't want to
Hmm.
deal with that. I'm sure brothers in the live stream chat do not want to deal with that as well. So you're saying you will mostly see those kind of people in Bangkok, and that's why it should be avoided. You won't see you won't, obviously you will see in other cities, but you see a lot of it there in Bangkok, and you just don't know. You want to be careful, and I agree with that, Theo. Speak on that more, Theo, because you want to rule that out completely early in the stream. Don't go to certain places where these transformers are, because we ain't dealing with them at all.
I saw Transformers on motorcycle bikes. I remember that all the time, or walking down the street in certain areas. It was almost as if some of them were flamboyant and like, hey, you can't tell that I'm which one I am, and like, well, let's have fun. So you can't tell if I'm an Autobot or a Decepticon. I could transform between one or another. And I was looking at him like, I don't even want to deal with this dude. And um, they would, they would just have fun. I mean, I remember like sometime in the hotel room, like no, sorry, in the hotel area, there was this receptionist, and it, it was like in the day an Autobot, and at night it was a Decepticon. And I was like, "Are you playing with us?" And there's laughter. I was like, I don't even know how to deal with it. It was okay because it was just kind of accepted. That was just the way it was. I would see groups of them like that in the malls or the shopping areas. And again, I was just like, eh. And my wife was like, the same way. Like, we don't want to deal with this. This is weird stuff. I remember we were telling her, I was like, thank you for being a woman. You're always like, you're so feminine. You're a woman. She's like, oh, all right, like, and then she'd always tell me like you can't trust these Thai girls because you don't know where you're gonna get. It might be a transformer. And I was like, I was trying to hide my obvious attraction to Thai women with her. And I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm gonna keep my eyes on you. And she was really happy that I only did things with her, but my eyes were wandering. I can't help that. But yeah, they're definitely there. The brothel scene, I saw more than one brothel. I saw more than 10 brothels. Um, mm,
Ugh.
so I didn't like it, but that's life, and you just looked away. But they're definitely there. I remember the European guys were recommending, also the Japanese guys were recommending to me like which brothels to go to, and I was like, I'm not a part of that. I don't do that. And they're like, your wife's going to be at a temple sometime, or that's what she was doing. She was doing cultural things in Thailand. She's like, well, you've got an hour free. You can go over here and get some. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not like that. But you know, I wouldn't have needed to because I was black, and there are so many looks that I was getting. So what more can I say? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say more about that one. There was an AIDS issue when I was there. So they were talking about that from time to time, and being careful about it. It wasn't as bad as you would think, but I think um, the industry there of offering Thai was an issue, and another reason why I was kind of skeptical about Bangkok, and why I recommend the guys to go to beaches, the
Mm.
beach areas that really seemed to be much more down to earth, and an area where woman was woman and man was man.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Theo. Brothers, what's going on with the likes? We got over 75 people. No, we got 80 people watching right now, but only 55 likes. Can we please get the likes up, or I will end up pausing the live stream until we get the likes up. I don't want to pause the live stream. So can we get the likes up? Because again, I don't know why you're what this is free intel. This is free information, but you can't simply hit the like button. You can't support, hit the cash app, hit the super chats. And again, every day we're here helping you brothers out, helping you navigate life, helping you get the foreign women that you need, getting brothers here to speak about stocks, crypto, and you can't even hit the like button. Can we please get the likes up to at least 75, 70? What's going on? Stop being ninja watchers, you know? Quit it. Sorry, Theo, but Theo, I'm going to pause the live stream for a moment until we get the likes up because I'm getting a bit sick of it now. Because every single time I'm getting record-breaking views for my kind of channel, and no one hits the like button. Hit the like button. Get the likes up, unless there'll be no stream at the moment. I'm going to pause the stream right now. It's paused until I get the likes up to at least 75, 70. It's a joke now, man. What's going on? I just don't understand. Get the likes up. Yep, keep hitting the like button. From now on, I'm going to start doing that. And I don't want to start singing just to get the likes up, bro. Jalil says, sing some Cardi B. God forbid. I ain't singing no Cardi B. God forbid. Nibiru, no swearing, brother. Even though you started out, can you please leave that comment? There's no swearing on my channel, please. Let's keep it PG. Okay, the likes are up now. So, Theo, on to the next question, Theo.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say prostitution is a problem in Thailand, and in particular, the places you went to? Speak on that further, Theo.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It was definitely there. There are places without it, but it just seems so laissez-faire there. Kind of like just a part of life. So I just turned my back on it. But Thailand was where I had like taxi drivers offering to take me to a brothel, or I would be in a restaurant by myself. My wife was doing something during the day, and a pimp would come up to me and offer to take me to a brothel. And every time I said no, I wasn't going to do it, especially back at that time. I never had that kind of issue on the beaches, but in Bangkok, yeah. So there were certain areas. I don't say certain areas. Let's just say that I saw it. I stayed away from it, but they're looking for you because they know that you're a foreigner. It's obvious. So they're so used to foreigners coming down there for fun. So they're like, hey, well, we'd rather have your money instead of somebody else. So, hey, if I'm by myself, they assume I'm single. Even with my wedding ring on, they didn't care. And they were trying to get me to go into one.
Crazy. This has been an informative live stream so far. Brothers, again, hit the Cash App to support the channel. Hit the Super Chat as well to support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. And of course, hit the like button as well to also support the channel. This is some top level intel you won't get anywhere else. Some government type of intel. So brothers, hit the like button, hit the Cash App, hit the Super Chats. So going on to my next question, Theo. Is feminism a problem there in Thailand? Or if not, is it growing there, brother? From what you've heard and seen, brother? Speak on that, bro.
No. Those women are straight out feminine. I could not even begin to see them like, nah, man, feminism, no way. Those women, it seemed like they knew their place. They wanted to be with a man. They wanted to have a man around, even if, like, let's say there's a high deal of respect for the men. I never had any conflict with them at all. Never nothing in the face. No Keishas. Like, so see, even in Japan, sometimes I would get a feminist. Like, I could do it by myself. I never had anything like that at all. And to be honest, so when I was in university in America, there were Thai there, and none of them were feminists either. Like, even though they were studying in America and they were exposed to feminism, they totally rejected it. And all of them got married and had kids. I still talk with them from time to time on Facebook. So, I would say they're one of the most feminism immune cultures that I've ever encountered.
This is, wow, crazy. This is crazy so far. I've got a couple of super chats. Shout out to Sean M for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, shout out to IP, Mr. Theo, Mr. Tony in the chat. This is great intel. Brothers, get the likes up and support the channel. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate those kind words, brother. Shout out to Michael S for the $2 super chat. He says, thank you, IP and Theo, for the intel, brothers. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated, bro. I'm happy you're enjoying this live stream. I've got a cash app here from Conrad Grant. What's up, Conrad Grant? He says he's donated £2.95 pence to the channel. Thank you, Conrad Grant. Much appreciated, brother. And shout out to Martin Lloyd for the $2 Canadian super chat. He says, "What time of the year is good to visit Thailand?"
Anytime. It's always warm. It's like Singapore. I mean, I wonder if people could argue about a different time in Singapore. Singapore was always perfect weather, at least in my point of view. Thailand is pretty much the same way. I mean, maybe there's a time that it's even better weather, like good and excellent weather. Coming from Japan, I was like, this weather is good. I mean, I thought Tokyo weather was good. Thailand weather was superb. So you can go anytime you want. I wouldn't. That's all my recommendation.
Fantastic, brother. So, brother, going on to the next question, Theo. How good looking are Thai women? Are Thai women up there as the best looking Asian women? Brother, speaking of that, I haven't really met a lot of Thai women here in the UK, but are Thai women good looking in general? And are they like the top looking best Asian women, even above Japanese? Speak on that, Theo.
So.
And hold on, Theo. Judge them by their face and by their bodies as well, based on what you've seen, Theo.
They're attractive. The one thing that got me with them is that they're rather small and they looked really frail. They're not frail, but they looked really frail. They don't necessarily have, like, again, people here talking about booty. No, they're not going to have booty. I mean, you might find some with booty. It was more like their personality. They're so hyper feminine, and the way they act, it's like a super attractor. Like I would never I would never even think of her like as an 8 or a 9 or a 10. It was kind of just like she was a magnet. And I was going straight to her. That's the way it was with them almost every time. They act so feminine that I can't help but talk to them. I rarely met an ugly Thai woman. I mean, there are some, of course, but I mean, if you're talking between the ages of, like, say, 21 and 32, most of them are at least decent looking, and a great number of them, I would just straight out say, are hot. But people might disagree with this. They're not as shapely as Japanese women are.
Okay.
Again, my personal point of view on this one. They're, it's more of a B area like that. But the way they look at you and treat you, you feel like God. I mean, you're like, I feel wonderful here. And that's where they really won. Height, I would say a lot of them were between 5'1" or about 157 centimeters to maybe 5'4" or about 163 centimeters, somewhere around there. If you find a Thai who's like 5'6" or about 167 centimeters, you're talking to a very tall Thai woman. I mean, they might happen more in the West, but I really met a woman who was taller than that. Japanese women, yes, but Thai, not so many.
Fantastic intel, brother. Shout out to Jay Takashi for the $5 super chat. He says, "Thank you, Theo, Team Asia, for the win. We're going to beat Team Latina in the ground week 1 week from now." Shout out to Jay Takashi for the super chat. Shout out to Wealth Engineering for the $5 Canadian super chat. He says, "Always a pleasure to hear your insight, Theo." Yes, indeed. Thank you, Theo, for this classic intel. But yeah, I would admit, I love the brown skin on Asian women. That brown, golden, glistening skin is super attractive. Is that one of the features that make you attracted to them as well, Theo?
Yeah, the skin, like the brown skin was, I mean, just magical. It was very hard to look away. They just had this like beautiful, like dark berry about them that I would say. And when kissing them, it was just like it was almost as if they were in more of a heaven than I was, and extremely submissive, extremely passive, but yet active. I mean, she wouldn't let you treat her badly, but it was almost as if she were completely under your control, and so it was a total turn on. That's the way they acted a lot in the society as well. They were always like weak, um, kind of like submissive kind of women that I saw. I would not try to get one of them angry, that's for sure. But like they said, they had a temper. I never had a problem with the temper of any of them. Also, I never really saw materialism with them either. That's another big turn on. I never saw. I mean, I'm sure they're there. I mean, you guys in the chat might have seen this. I personally never did. I never saw a Thai girl with a Louis Vuitton bag or Prada or some sort of name brand. They almost always were just down to earth. Um, they were much more in the Filipina uh, realm there, but at least Filipinos were aware of name brands, or they were talking about something better in the future. I never had that with Thai. Um, Even I know some Thai here in Austin. None of them are materialistic. I never see them having any kind of high level. It's always like, like the car they drive is a used Toyota because used Toyotas don't break down, or a Hyundai because it's gets like 40 miles to the gallon. That's the way they would think. They think very practically. Maybe some guys in the chat met someone or had experience with Thai woman where didn't happen. I never did. That's just want to say a personal thing. When I was with my wife, she had more than one Louis Vuitton and Coach bag because I was the one buying them. So she had quite a number of them. She had like Theory. Theory was a clothing line, and I bought her more than one pair of $400 pants or $400 shoes, things like that. Like really extravagant things. I was like, why do you need this? I don't understand it. I never saw anything like this with Thai. Never. Even in publications, I didn't see them. So, I mean, again, maybe a guy can come up here and says, "Well, yeah, this is where the materialistic Thai are." Like, okay, wow, I've never seen one. So that was my experience. They seemed like just laid back, down to earth, the kind of woman that you wish you had met in your like teenage years. Another thing too, like if you maintain frame, if you're always masculine, these women, like if you only make like say $80,000 a year, a Thai might work, because she's not going to ask you for something like totally crazy expensive. They tended to be just more practical. Um, I guess one other point I want to say is I saw a lot of them who could cook. I mean, quite a number. Like they cooked really well, and sometimes they would cook for me, like when I was in Japan, and they cooked so well. I mean, they cooked some yummy food, man. I ate so well with Thai girls. And they always treated me well. I mean, so when they cook for me, I wouldn't have to worry. They come over to my place and they cook for me there. They'd always bring the food over, and they would even ask me to pay for it. I would say I'd offer to give them money for it, but they take it, but they never asked me to do it. And they cooked me just this wonderful, really great meal that I'd never had before. Various curries, various like noodle dishes, like vegetable dishes I just never had. They're just totally delicious. And it seemed like they were always like a king of, or sorry, queen of the kitchen. And we had this also when my wife and I were on the beaches. Sometimes we would make friends with a Thai family, or Thai girls, just Thai. We're friendly people. We're not jerks. And sometimes they would have lunch with us, and they would bring some food over, and they'd always cook this like just wonderful, wonderful food. So that was something I really liked about them. Just the cooking. Yeah, it was good.
Fantastic intel, Theo. Shout out to Conrad Grant for the $5 super chat. What's up, Conrad? Thank you, brother. He says, shout out IP. I want to give special thanks to you for continuing to bring great intel. I have learned great information for your streams. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much for the kind words, brother. It's much appreciated. I want to thank everyone as well who has contributed to this passport space as well. Theo, Tony Berry, Jay Bones, Thomas Demihin, the whole team. You as well, Conrad Grant. Thank you, brothers. Thank you. It's much appreciated. Brothers, keep sending in the cash apps, keep sending in super chats. Again, it's much appreciated. You are validating the hard work I put into this channel. It's 2:30 a.m. over here in the UK, brothers, but I care about you, brothers. You brothers need this intel. I will save you, brothers, because you brothers deserve it. So going on to the next question, Theo. Let's talk about languages, right? Is English enough to speak to these Thai women in Thailand, or do we have to learn a little bit of Thai? Speak on that, Theo.
Again, I have a master's degree in linguistics. There's a lot of languages that I can hang in, I can learn easy. Thai was not one of them. I actually, while being on this channel, I actually got some Thai books and I've been looking through them. They're still hard for me. So even with all my skills, I had a hard time. There are guys I knew there, like Westerners, who were they actually lived in Thailand because they were totally crazy about the girls, so they actually learned Thai. You can get by with English, but you probably need some local help. And there are girls there there are people there who speak English, so if they're not totally hostile to it, and they're aware that if you're a foreigner, you probably don't speak Thai, you've never been exposed to it, you don't know the language, you don't know even the alphabet, and so they're a little bit more forgiving on that point. They're not going to be in your face like, why don't you speak Thai? They'll be kind of, I don't know, coy, shy about speaking English. But they'll try to communicate with you, and they'll try to give you some sort of service or to help you out, especially if they understand that you can't figure out what's going on. Now, when I was in other countries, when I'm dating Thai women, they all spoke English and Japanese, or just at least English. So that wasn't an issue. She was usually competent herself in that language.
Fantastic, brother. Shout out to Jay Bones for the $2 super chat. He says, why encourage all British Airway chefs are Thai? Fantastic to hear, bro. Interesting. Calling brother later on, it seems like a lot of brothers in the live stream chat, from what I see, have intel on Thai. So this should be a great live stream to augment and support Theo's claims about Thai women. It's going to be a great stream. So going on to the next question, Theo. So because, Thai women check for brothers so much in Thailand, based on what you've seen, Theo, are there any jealousy towards black men from the Thai men and other foreigner men, such as British, Australian men? Do they all hate black men because of all the attention we get? And what about the local hate as well from Thai men? Did you ever experience that, Theo?
No, but I did get looks from sometimes. And
looks
that's
from who?
If I was Thai men.
Okay.
And that's if I was too close to a Thai girl and they were kind of looking at it. Or they thought that my wife was Thai. I don't know why, because she's obviously Japanese. But they would get confused with it sometimes. They couldn't tell the difference, something like that, which is kind of weird. You shouldn't have that issue. I will say this. This is something the locals said, and this is what I saw as well. Do not get Thai men angry. They have some sort of outrageous temper, and they go nuts. And they go from being rather passive, like nothing's wrong, kind of chill men, to being absolutely nutty, crazy, and you don't want to get in a fight with them. You don't want to have any problems with them. So you kind of just want to be chill. If you're with a Thai girl and you're in Thailand, treat her well. Like, don't be pushing her around. Don't be belittling her or anything. Respect her. I mean, you got to maintain frame, but you need to respect her, because I would say that the men do have eyes on you, and you just need to make sure they don't go, kind of crazy.
Great intel there, Theo. Shout out to Captain Cisco for the $2 super chat. He says, Thailand teaches women that men are a higher being. Is that true, Theo?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. they not only higher being, but also men are to be respected and honored, and that men are vital. And a lot of men do a lot of serious work there. They really sacrifice. And so it, I would say women understand that they can't live without the men. They have a synergy. Um, so yeah, if they see you, they're gonna see like it's a bigger man, and they're not gonna have any problems with you. Just as long as you treat them well. Like good. There's no reason to treat a Thai girl badly. I wouldn't understand why.
Mm.
Um, if you were in Thailand and it was like hypergamy were happening towards you, I would say like, okay, just drop her, go get another one, because there are so many fish in the sea. You would have so many opportunities to date. Um, Ultimately, I mean, I gotta admit, like again, being on the live streams this year and actually starting to talk about Thai women, the probably Thai women are the one that I'm kind of still wondering why I didn't go further in that area.
Mm.
Um, they seemed rather wonderful, especially the ones I was dating, and why that more didn't happen, I don't understand. Um, I mean, so I'm gonna I mean, I'm gonna say something kind of fun. Like they've got a flat, non-existent booty. Like there's nothing really there at all. If you're in a booty, you're not gonna like this. But they have a submissive one and a respectful one, and they have a woman who's gonna look at you like with total respect while you're touching her. And I don't know if you've ever had that kind of experience. It's amazing. In that way, it's kind of similar to a Russian girl. Yeah, they have like the same kind of respect level towards the men.
Fantastic comment there, and great super chat, Captain Cisco. I will say this again: there's no reason to treat a feminine foreign woman like crap. You know, please keep that in the West. I mean that, brothers. Don't ruin it for other brothers out there. When you travel to these countries, treat the woman with respect. I'm not saying start simping for them and doing all that nonsense, but just treat her with respect. You know, don't be rude. Don't be a douchebag. Just treat her with
Mm-hmm.
respect, and that's what we ask. That's what we ask for, brothers. You know, and that's it. So going on to my next super chat, shout out to Jay Takashi for the $10 super chat. He says Thai women with brown skin are attractive. Right on, Theo. Keep preaching the truth. After I go to Japan, Thailand is next. You're gonna have to help me decide to pick between Japanese or Thailand women for a wife. That goes on to my next question, Theo. Theo, so out of Japanese and Thai women, in 2021, Theo, who do you
Mm-hmm.
prefer and why? So, which is better out of those two groups of women? Because Japanese women, amazing, Thai women, amazing. So, hard choice for you, Theo. But if you had to choose one, pick one and tell us why.
Oh God.
Mm.
No, you ask a difficult question, don't you? Um, Boy, that's a hard one.
Oh,
Um,
damn.
I I would say, well, personally, I know that, like what J Bone says, I know that Japanese are a better wife, and in long term it'd be better. But I have that pain level that actually happened with me. So one way I'd have to kind of get over that. I'm still getting over it. Whereas Thai, there's no pain level involved. It was always fun, erotic, exotic and erotic. That's what it was with them. So, but how exactly I would do a marriage, that would be the more difficult thing. Whereas with Japanese, you understand full well how the marriage is going to work out. It's black and white. This isn't an issue. And so, if you want to have a guaranteed decent marriage structure, and you understand capitalism and how companies work and how your professional life works, Japanese is where you're going to go. Um, but if you find a Thai girl who can be completely on your team, and like she fully supports you and she's devoted, oh, it's really hard to leave one of those alone.
Mm.
What can I say?
Thank you, Theo. Going on to my next question, Theo. can we speak about body counts? Do Thai women have high body counts? We know that Thai is a tourist spot. You know, I'm a bit worried about the local girl. You know, she may
Hmm.
look feminine, she maybe have great things going for her, but she might have a high body count, all that stuff. You know, is that a possibility? Theo, do Thai women in general have high body counts?
I would be careful about Bangkok.
Hmm.
Again, another guy might come up here and give more information about Bangkok. I would personally be worried about Bangkok. Um, Now, when you're talking about the countryside, no. If you're talking about girls who go abroad, no. Um, Girls on beaches, no. They're not going to have high body counts at all. But in Bangkok, oh boy, what it's actually what a misappropriate yet apt appropriate name for a city because there's a lot of that going on. Uh, uh, yeah, that's why all I gotta say in them. You just That's just the way it is with them. Um, you kind of touch and go. So I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. So like, I know one Thai girl, um, was in university with me. She's been with one guy in her entire life, and that's her husband. And I know her husband, and they have 4 kids together. And she's never touched any other guy. I don't think she's ever kissed another guy except for him. So they're in Bangkok, they're in church. There you go. There's an example. Yet I know plenty of other Thai girls who had body counts over 30.
Jeez Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So bro, speak about the countryside, bro. Can you drop some names in the live stream chat regarding where we can go to in the countryside to meet women with low body counts based on what you've seen and experienced? It's from
I
Theo, possible?
I personally would say just outside of Bangkok,
Okay.
because once you get outside of Bangkok, it's almost all countryside.
Mm.
Um, that's the way I looked at it. 'Cause Bangkok was rather dense and populated. Once you get out of it, it's not. I mean, it's pretty, like in Japanese say inaka. It's pretty countryside. Um, it's farmland, more farm. I mean, there might have like a city kind of coming together, but it's if we're talking about the UK, like Manchester or Liverpool, it's pretty urbanized, but not compared to London, but it's still urbanized in those other two other cities. Whereas in Thailand, you're not going to like Bangkok is the city, and then the rest is just countryside. That's the best way to describe it.
Fantastic, brother. And brothers, please feel free to hit the like button if you're new to the stream, and also press the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to always so you never miss a post, upload a live stream from me. If you're new to my channel for this live stream, hit the subscribe button, and of course, feel free to cash out and super chat to support the international passport movement. Okay, so going on to my next question, Theo. Based on what you've seen, Theo,
Mm-hmm.
would you consider Thai women to be wifeable? You know, that's a very strong statement there. Would you actually wife one, have children with her? Do you think so, Theo?
As long as you maintain frame and you're sure that she's not going to go, I would say put a ring on it as fast as you can. Get the chair, bend her over, and make the kids.
Damn. When you say
Yeah.
maintain frame, Theo, explain to the audience what you mean by that, because maintain frame in terms of Thai women, what do you mean by that, Theo?
So you have to be the man. You always have
Mm,
to maintain a masculine frame with her. You cannot show weakness, and you can joke around. You can be you tell her about your day and things like that. But you have to be the man, and particularly you have to be the man about money. And Thai women will sense if you're weak in any of those areas. I mean, I have one example of a woman here in Austin, and she's a good friend of mine, and she's working, which makes no sense. And her husband is a white boy, and she came over. He brought her over from Thailand, and his job is not so good. So he's not making so much money, and she has to work in order for them to survive here in Austin, which makes no sense. But she's in love with him, okay. But when she's with me, she knew how much money I made. You know, I'm making significant dollars, and I could tell the attraction.
Mm.
And that was the issue with him. I was like, dude, you're not maintaining frame with her, and you're not maintaining the value. And so she can, although she's not doing something, her eyes are wandering.
Mm.
And this is something you have to be aware with them. Ultimately, as I think one person said it, they want to be able to show their family that they brought in a good husband for the longevity of their family. It's kind of like a family value. And so she is more than happy to hop on to another guy if it's a better if it's a more if it brings more value to her family and her family line. That was the feeling and words that I got on with them. Um, I would say, or as Japanese women, they tend to be like, all right, if somebody nukes them, they'll go through the nuclear winter together. They tended to be with you, like ride and die until the end of time. It was just that the Japanese girls who were more exposed, like what Tony had, the girls who are exposed to Western culture and they actually got feminism, that's where they actually had the issue. Whereas with the Thai girl, her wanting to have like a richer guy and a guy who always maintains frame and willing to leave a guy who loses frame. This is true of her in Thailand or anywhere in the world. And so it doesn't really matter. So you need to ensure that you always maintain frame with her.
Fantastic information there, Theo. So, brothers, looks like you need to get your money up, brothers. Make sure, brothers, you go into a good career, invest in stocks, crypto, because again, I think it's about money with Thai women. Make sure, brothers, you are the provider, or else she will practice hypergamy. Shout out to Theo for that intel there. So, going on to my next question, Theo, you mentioned earlier on in the stream about Thai women having a temper. Brothers, speak on that. Having a temper, how bad is that temper? Is it like Western women's temper where she'll start throwing your belongings out the house? She'll tell you to get out of my house, even though you actually are the owner of the house. Would she attempt to attack you and try and frame you? How bad does this temper feel? And have you actually experienced it before?
I haven't experienced it, but I've had friends who experienced it. And this was mainly with the guy being weak and like making her pay for something that she really didn't want to pay for or be in a situation she didn't like. And then just generally being a wuss. And um, eventually she get ticked off and she kind of go after the guy. And it would be kind of vicious. So this is something you wish to avoid. The men have it the worst, but the Thai did have it. For the most part, though, I just want to say most Thai girls are very demure, passive, friendly, feminine women. They're not trying to go after you, but they do have a temper, and it's worse than Japanese women's temper because Japanese women will have like she'll get angry with you and then she'll have a limit and then she'll just do something because she's sick of it. Whereas Thai, her threshold is much deeper, but if you really cross that deep threshold, if you keep on doing something wrong to her, yeah, she can really go after you. I wouldn't be like throwing things outside. It might be like setting things on fire.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what I'd be more or less worried about. If I were with a Thai girl again, I would like one thing I would say I would never look at another girl, and then I would never betray her at all in any way, shape, or form. Um, that's the way I looked at it. I don't know how other guys are thinking about it, but no. It tended like in relationships, they tended to give all of themselves literally to you.
Mm.
Um, Japanese weren't that much with me, but there was always a part of them that was reserved. It seemed like Thai did not have that reservation. They were like all in 100%.
Brother Theo, can you briefly touch on Japanese women's temper and what they do when you tick them off? Because you said Thai women might set your belongings on fire. What do Japanese women do? Are they very passive aggressive? Would they try and do some shady stuff? Speak on that, bro, because I think that's very briefly.
They don't do anything shady, but they'll make it more than they'll state their conditions, and they'll say like, you break these conditions, I'll leave you, or I'll end the relationship, or I just won't talk to you anymore. And she might do it with a broken heart, but she'll do it, and but she won't get overly emotional with you. That's for sure. Um, it's not gonna break anything. She's not gonna set your house on fire or anything like that. You don't have to worry about that. But you will see a woman say, "I'm done with you," and just pack her things up and go, or just stop talking to you. They're kind of, in one way, cold and executing in that method, whereas Thai woman will go a bit deeper with you, even if you're screwing up. But yeah, I would definitely say I would be much more worried about her, like, poisoning your food or setting your house on fire.
Poisoning
Um,
your food. Jeez.
yeah, yeah, but just don't. Why you would drive a Thai woman to that point, I don't know. Like, I would sit back and say, what happened? I would actually be on her side, because I was like, to what degree did you push her? So, I mean, did she come home and she saw you banging Keisha? Because if that's what happened, okay, then maybe you deserve to have your house set on fire. Whereas if you come home and you're banging Keisha and a Japanese woman sees it, she might just turn her back, and she's heavy set, like she's sad, and she says, "Well, it's over," and she'd just walk out, but she'd just be really sad about it. It was like, she would hold her sorrow to herself, to her own chest. Whereas a Thai woman, yeah, she might kill you and Keisha. What can I say?
Damn, this is great information here by Theo. Brothers, support the channel, hit the like button, send through cash app, super chats. You won't get any intel like this from anywhere else. Support the channel, brothers. Send through the cash apps and super chats. Theo, going on to my next question, Theo. Is social media a problem there in Thailand amongst Thai women? Is it starting to become a problem amongst them? Like we see in Western women at all? No?
Nah. I haven't seen it. Even the Thai here in Austin, I didn't see that.
Mm.
These are the Thai that I'm talking about. Thai who actually came over from Thailand, not ones who were born here. Um, no, they don't care about that. I mean, nah, man, they're not Western like that. They don't care. Even in California, I remember Thai. They weren't checking their phones all the time. I mean, it was there, but you know, they'd only use it if they were using it to call someone. They weren't like constantly on it. They weren't. There's no narcissism with these chicks. I think that's in a perfect way for me to describe it. They are not narcissistic at all.
Fantastic, brother. And going on to my next question, Theo. On the range of 1 to 10, how submissive are Thai chicks? And really let us know, brother, how submissive are these Thai chicks, on a range of 1 to 10?
10.
Oh my goodness, damn.
They are the
What?
most. They are the most submissive women I ever met.
Oh, god damn.
I mean, just straight out. I mean, I would give. I mean, if I say American women are 1, Thai would be 10. Japanese would be maybe an 8. Filipino would be 9.
Oh,
Czech. Czech would be about a 7. Ukraine would be about a 7. Um, Brazil, I would put them around a 5, but it's kind of like you want to be on their boat anyway because they're so fun.
oh,
So yeah, I maybe put Brazil around. Maybe put them around 7. Um, yeah, they tend to be also very, they're somewhat degree submissive, but they're like, you just want to be with them. It's kind of like a party. You just want to, like let's just go with them because they're still so fun. They always have that like inner positivity in them, whereas Thai girls, they always had like this super intense inner femininity, And they're always had a beauty, an Asian feminine beauty, which has emanated from them all the time. Like I could sense it from from like 100 feet away. I could always sense when they were around. I was always affected by them. When you touch one, you kiss one, it goes right straight through you. I
Oh,
mean, you will feel that. So there again, Ty is the most submissive I was ever with. I mean, just straight out.
so Theo, tell us your definition of a submissive woman, and try and match that to Thai woman. What is the definition? Because people, when people say, when people see that we say submissive, they feel, oh, you wanted to be a slave, you wanted to, you wanted to treat her like crap. That's not what it means. Theo, can you define to us what you believe is a submissive woman and what submissiveness is, and how that's
Okay,
important for your relationship?
what I always say is that when you are dealing with life, I always think about life as being you're you're on a ship, you're on your own ship, and you're going towards a destination. And depending on how strong you are, you can control your ship to that destination. Or if a woman is around, maybe she either hijacks your ship, sinks your ship, or sends it to a totally different destination. So, like I would say, like for most American women, what they would do is identify your ship, get on there, send it to the wrong place, and then while it's going someplace else, sink it, and then she would get back on her ship and blame you for it.
Mm,
So that's in that allegory. Thai women, what they would do is they would say like, "I don't have a ship. I'm going on yours.
mm.
So where you're going, that's where she's going." I never had a conflict regarding the destination. It always seemed as if she was a helpmeet while I was going there. If you, I would say like the people who have families with Thai women, it was more like this is your destination. I'm going there with you, and on the way as you're going there, I'm going to make kids with you, and then we as a family unit are going to help you get to that destination. That's how they really acted.
Fantastic, brother. And going on to my next question, Theo. Let's speak about the clubs and bars in Thailand. Brother, do you recommend any specific club and bars in the places you went to and the names of it, if you can, as to where is it a good spot to meet Thai women? Should we avoid clubs and bars? Did you have a great time in the clubs and bars? Break it down for us, Theo.
Huh. So other guys might comment on this one better. I avoided clubs and bars in Thailand because I viewed them as being confined areas. So it was harder if I were surrounded, it would be harder for me to leave. And because I was like, it always seemed that the Thai guys were in groups. If I had a confrontation, I knew that I wouldn't get out of that confrontation because it would be too hard for me to get to the door. So that was my feeling that I had with that. And then generally speaking, I didn't go out at night except if I were in a beach area and I was like in an international area where people like I was protected basically. That was my way of doing it. I wouldn't recommend going to clubs or bars there, just because it seemed to me that there were predators there. So it was either the transformer who was a predator towards you, or it was somebody else, a working girl, a girl who had a high natch count, something like that. This is just my personal point of view. Um, there might be guys who are like, yeah, I went to this club and it was good, and this is why I checked out for women. When I was in Thailand, I always got the eye in cafes and on the beaches, and also in the malls. Again, I talked about Singapore. The Thai girl hooked up there. She was in a restaurant. She was working in a restaurant in a mall. In Japan, most of the Thai girls I hooked up with, they were either student exchange students. I met them on the trains, or I met them in like the local Thai restaurant, and they were there to help out. and then I would be talking with them. All the girls I talked to were between the ages of 21 and 26, right around there, and they were very eager to date me. It was like, let's go. Like they gave me more than enough look. Um, if the Thai girl likes you, she will give you more than enough energy. Sorry, I would say she will give you the choosing signal like you've never had one before in your life. You'd have to be like nearly a corpse to not be able to see it. She will throw feminine energy at you to such a degree that I mean you can't just help but react to it. Um, Again, I mean, maybe there's some guys who just have not been able to figure it out, or they haven't been exposed to that. They haven't gotten attention or a stream like that. I definitely got it from Ty quite a bit.
Fantastic, brother. Theo, can we speak about online dating? Is that an avenue to meet Thai women? Is that something you recommend or not recommend? If so, what apps should we use? Speak on that, Theo.
You can use Tinder there, but the problem with Tinder is that Transformers.
Mm.
Yep. I'll definitely say that. You don't know what you're getting. Um, I would say go with friends of friends, or like you go into a same restaurant all the time, or on the same beach, and you're starting to talk with people, and you say like, "Hey, like I'm gonna go out to the beach, like it's even a beach area. Be like, hey, I'm gonna be out like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I like to eat something unique or something different about a Thai food. I like to learn more about Thai food. Could you talk to me about it, or could you have one of your girlfriends come and talk to me about it? All right, I don't know that much about Thai girls, or I don't know that much about Thai people. Could one of your girlfriends come and talk to me? Maybe she speaks English. And if you're kind of down to earth like that, like a Thai girl will appear, and she'll get we have her friend or somebody else that she knows, and then they'll come out and talk, and then you can start networking through there, and just keep on talking. Um, if she wants a black guy, or she's curious about a black guy, they will definitely show that. And if they know somebody else who is, they'll definitely bring that person over to you. They tended to be like that. They tended to be like they wanted to recommend what was best for their group.
Fantastic intel, Theo. Going on to my next question, Theo. Are STDs and STIs a problem in Thailand?
Yes. Yep. I would say in
Yeah.
Bangkok. In Bangkok, yes.
But
You
what
need to
about
be
in the beaches? Oh, carry on,
no,
Theo.
not in the countryside, but in
Okay.
Bangkok, yes. You need to be careful in Bangkok. That would just really emphasize that you need to be careful. I wouldn't. I mean, I can see some guys getting there and they're seeing like these hyper feminine women like they've never seen before, and they just can't help themselves. And they have dollars, they see the situation, they see the opportunity, they just go for it, and then they get this really crazy experience, and then 3 weeks later something's burning, and they need medical attention. That happens to foreigners in Thailand. They can't keep their pants zipped and they do something stupid. I'd say um, don't do that in Bangkok. Go to a beach area. um, Go to the malls there. um, Go to schools if you can. If you're a religious person, go into a local mosque or a church, and just be demure. Be like kind of low key about stuff. Don't be looking too much, but just kind of just be relaxed and wait for the girls to come for you, and they will.
And how do they come for you? Do they give a lot of choosing signals? Do they is it a physical touch? Do they eye contact here and there? Is it right in your face? Speak on how they do it in Thailand, brother.
Um, one of the things what the Thai girls would do is they would look at me right in the eye, and then they wouldn't look away, and they would give this like feminine look, and it was more than obvious that she wanted to date. And then sometimes she'd giggle. She'd be super feminine afterwards, but she would give this look and be like, I'm not allowing your eyes to look anyplace else. I've got your eyesight. And I was really intrigued by this. This is one of the reasons why they drew me in so well. They were just had this way of attracting men. And also, you don't want to look away. Like their faces are rather pleasant to the eye, like eye candy. In that way, they're kind of like Ukrainians, but more so, like even more feminine. And so they just, their submissiveness and their demeanor, they have eyes and a face that you don't want to look away from. It just, you feel at home there. And yeah, they got you. It's like, boom. Um, yeah, the girls know what they're doing.
Fantastic, bro. Um, Thailand women, are they religious? Are they mostly Christians, mostly Muslim? And does that play a part in dating, and meeting certain types of women? Speak on that, Theo.
They're Buddhists.
Okay.
Met a lot of Buddhists there, and they're practicing Buddhists. They're not like Japanese. Japanese are largely atheist, or they're religious maybe because they feel like it, but meh. Um, Japanese women tended to be extremely. No, sorry, Thai women tended to be religious. If they were Christian, they were Christian. If they were Muslim, they were Muslim. If they were Buddhist, they were Buddhist. Um, yeah, that's just the way it was with them. If they were atheists, there were some atheists there, but I would say the main one was Buddhism.
Fantastic, Theo. And Theo, going on from that area of religion, but not too close to it. Brothers want to meet conservative women over liberal women. Theo, my question to you is, where in Thailand do we go to meet conservative women, and where in Thailand do you go to meet liberal women? So some brothers like liberal women, some brothers like women who have high body counts, who dye their hair purple and blue, but brothers like us want to date conservative women. Where do we find that, Theo, conservative women and liberal women?
I never saw a blue and purple haired Thai woman in my entire life. I mean, I'm sure they exist someplace, like probably in the West, but in Asia, I never saw one. And I just for myself, I've never saw one in the West either. I want to say there, guys listening to this doesn't mean that they don't exist. I personally never saw one. Um, my personal view, they were all conservative. It's just that some of them were a bit more sexually liberal than others. They were doing it for various reasons, financial or to get a guy or something like that, or they just straight out enjoyed it. They didn't really have guilt or shame regarding their sexuality, and that's one way that they were kind of similar to Czech women in that way. But what they were better at doing was actually getting the man. So, like again, if I look at Czech women are able to work, and they know that. So they're highly feminine, um, and they have like an exotic nature about them. I always felt that way, and they always had like a free sexual orientation where they can, if they want to date a lot of guys, they can. They can go both ways, or they can just go ahead and date one guy and be conservative that way. But there really wasn't a liberalism to them. Yet they have the job. They know they can support themselves. Thai women are not like this. Thai women do not want to be supporting themselves 100%. It's not that, it's not there. They want a guy. They want a man, and they know that they need a man in order to go the full length of life, and to have a full enjoyment of life. They need a man. So they definitely have that incentive to get married. Like I'm gonna point this out with these guys. maybe in the West you've seen Thai girls who live with a guy and they're not married, but out of all, like, I know a lot of nationalities. I've rarely, if ever, seen a Thai woman who just lives with a guy. I've seen Filipina, Koreans, Japanese, definitely Americans, Western world, of course. They can live together forever. Ukrainians, Brazilians, I've seen this. Mexicans, Colombia. But I've rarely seen a Thai woman live with a guy without marriage. It I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I never, in over 30 years, I've never seen it really. Um, yeah, it's more like you want to live together with one of these girls, you need to put a ring on it.
Fantastic, bro. And brother, on that point, right? What was I gonna say? Oh, I forgot. It'll come back to me later on. Let me go on to the next question.
Mhm.
So, Theo, I think we've established earlier on that you believe that Thai women are not materialistic, which is great. But, brother,
Mhm.
can we speak about cold approaching? Should brothers cold approach in Thailand? Is it necessary? If so, how should we cold approach, brother? And where should we be doing our cold approaching?
Be worried about crowded areas in Bangkok.
Mm,
Um, you want if you're gonna cold approach an upscale area where they know that you're a foreigner and they know that you're probably going to be hitting on a girl and it's accepted in that area. So that's I would do it there. That the reason why I would be worried about cold approaching is like, oh, Tony's going to know about this. Um, Also, other guys who've been in Japan, there's a place called Kabukicho, and it's the red light district in Tokyo. It used to be the number one red light district in all of Asia, and I would um, like I would not cold approach in Kabukicho because I'd be worried about the kind of women that I would be cold approaching there.
mm,
It was kind of the same way with all of Bangkok. I would just be worried about the situation. You can, but what I would do is instead of cold approaching in Bangkok, that's the only city you go to, I would go and talk to people and get information. And then from the information, have them direct you towards a girl or an environment where you can meet an actual woman. Again, not a working girl, not a transformer, not an underage. Those are the three big ones I had to worry about there. So definitely that's the way I would do it. On the beaches or on the countryside, yeah, you can. Um, if she's not if she's not giving you the look, then why? But if even if she's not, I mean, you can go ahead and like I would say in a university setting, um, or in a place where people are educated, that's where you would want to do a cold approach. Um, you wouldn't want to go to a rundown area and do it there. That just wouldn't work because you are a foreigner. And so
mm.
they're going to be a little bit more like, hey, I only want Thai, or who are you? Or you're just another sex tourist. So we don't want anything to do with you. We want to avoid that kind of stigma.
Mm. So, going on, I've got two questions based on the answer you gave me. The answer you gave me for that question, Theo. First one is, where do we meet people that can direct us to meeting decent Thai women? Do we have to join the gym like in other countries to meet
Hmm.
people, like joining a very expensive gym in somewhere in Thailand where you go to and speak to the locals there, the men and the women, and let your intentions be known. I'm here to meet women. Direct me in the right place. And second question is, what was it called? Um, it slipped my mind. Sorry, bro. Just that first
Oh,
question.
I'll go through the first one while you think about it. Okay, so definitely join a gym. That's one of the best advice. It's something I kind of alluded to also when I did my check stream. You definitely go into a gym, you talk to people while you're lifting, and then you get good ideas, and then you can know where to go, and they're gonna might give you some better local knowledge. Um, if they speak to you in a hotel area, they'll definitely tell you. Um, like the receptionist or something like that. It's like, hey, I want to meet somebody, and they'll giggle and then they'll talk about it. What else would I would say? Stores. We're going into a shopping area. Just talk about it and say, hey, like, I'm here to meet somebody, or like, um, you know, like my girlfriend was supposed to come with me to Thailand, but she didn't arrive, and maybe our relationship is not going to be so good. So I'm just looking for a different opportunity. Do you know anything? Like, how's the scene here? And they might give you a much better information regarding maybe a potential gathering, or there might be like some sort of festival, and they might say go over there with a group of people, and they start talking. Um, that's one way of definitely doing it. Um, if I'm gonna do straight out cold approach, like if I were there, I would do cold approach like crazy on the beaches, and then also in the cafes. I would just go nuts there. Now, when I did cold approach in Tokyo, um, it was wherever she gave me the Tuesday signal. It was like right to it. And the main area where I dated Thai was Shinjuku and Shibuya. So yeah, there were plenty of Thai there. They were easy to date.
Thank you, brother. So going on to my next question, bro, you mentioned something about cold approaching in educated areas, which is a good point there. Brother, can you speak about the educated areas in Thailand, the names, the ones that you personally feel that brothers should go to meet educated women that are still feminine? Is it possible to give us that intel, Theo?
I don't remember those.
Mhm.
You're going to be looking at like the train system, any place where it's kind of a high level, or it's obviously not a slum, and where people have like a semi decent Western way of life. In those areas, you can start doing cold approaches. You would need to have some reservations for doing it in a poor area, because the poor area you might be dealing with a boy gang, bike
Oh,
gang, or you might, again, transformer.
mhm.
I'm serious. I saw so many transformers there. Um, that's where you have to be a little bit more worried about it. Um, yeah, that's the way I would do it. You want to get a girl who's on a certain economic level there. You don't want to get somebody who's entirely poor, because you don't know if she's underage or a working girl. So someone who actually has a job, at least some sort of working. But this isn't going to be like a Western job. This isn't a job where she support herself, but she's somewhat working. She's engaged in something, or she's a student studying something. Those are the areas where you can actually start talking to the women. Um, yeah, but I don't. And that to that degree, because I actually wasn't executing when I was in Thailand, so I wouldn't be able to give it to you like that way. I wouldn't say like this at one area. Of course, on the beaches, I was seeing looks all the time,
Mm.
and so in those cases, if I were single, I would have just done straight out done cold approach. Um, that I found that the Thai girls initiated it themselves. So all you had to do was execute on or act upon their initiation.
And Theo, did any Transformers approach you, Theo, in your time in Thailand?
Mm, yeah, I don't know. Force shields are up. By a transformer.
So they did, and you told them to F off
Yeah. They also approached me in Tokyo.
in Tokyo.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, there's
Uh,
transformers there. Yeah. And they come out at night. So um, I worked in Shinjuku area, so there were transformers there, but they were usually limited to one side of the station, if you could say, uh, and you need to know how to avoid them. It wasn't that hard to do. But they're much easier to identify. Like, yep, you're a transformer. Whereas in Thailand, ooh, that was much more difficult. Uh, you didn't know, so. Yeah, they're much better there.
Oh God, just brothers, be careful, brothers. So going on to my next question, Theo. I think you mentioned a good point there where you got to pay for most things. Are you saying we got to pay for everything? That she won't contribute financially to the household, to to buying simple things. That you just have to pay for everything for you and her
Hmm.
school, her education, food, drinks. Is that what you're saying, Theo?
Yeah, yeah. For a Thai girl, yeah, you need to be paying for everything. Um, Now, I don't, I don't. Yeah, you need to do it with them. I can't see why you wouldn't. Um, they're hyper feminine. They will. This is where you have to worry about it in hypergamy. Um, it's not hard to do because they're not asking for. They're not materialistic. So you're not gonna, she's not going to come to you and say like, okay, pay the rent and give me a $2,000 Coach bag and a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag. That's not going to happen.
Mm.
So you don't have to worry about it. But she will think that you're supposed to pay the electricity, the bills, the food. If they go out, you're going to be paying for that too, and there shouldn't be a question about it. And if there is a question about it, then you're really going to have a problem with her. Not initially in the beginning, but the problem is there. But she won't be in your face yelling at you about it, but her eyes will wander.
Thank you for that information, Theo. Um, Next question for you, Theo. Actually, I've got a couple of super chats. Hold on, Theo. Shout out
Hmm.
to Yamar Bar for the $10 super chat. He says rent is dirt cheap in Bangkok. It's a good selling point in addition to the woman. Do you know anyone working remotely from Thailand and keeping everything balanced and succeeding? Speak on that, Theo.
Yes, I have friends making $300,000 a year while working on the beach in in Thailand,
Damn.
and they do all their penetration work. They're all their work from just remotely, and they get paid, and they use their debit card to pay for things in Thailand. And exactly what this person says, the costs are dirt cheap there. It is ridiculously cheap. That it is very economical there. That's another point. That's why I would say, like, if you're dealing with a Thai woman, but also if you're in Thailand and you're having a problem financially, ooh, like why?
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen? Like, because food, like a a good meal for $5, you can get an excellent meal there. I mean, the stuff. 'Cause I like, personally, I like noodles with a little bit of vegetables and some chicken. Not too much chicken, but I like the noodles. I some broth. I always get down with those kind of meals, and then or like a good curry with some vegetables, maybe a little chicken. If I'm in Thailand, something extravagant would be like some red meat. 'Cause they don't eat that much. They don't eat that much beef, but chicken definitely. That would be something normal, but you know $5 you'd be totally full. You'd eat like a king. Um, if you couldn't afford that for a girl too, it'd be like, what? Really? It wouldn't be like Japan. I go out in Japan, I'm like, okay, like Ichimane, it's gonna be like at least $100. Don't even think anything less than that. Like we're starting at 100, we're going above there. I don't even think it's a thing. Um, but in Thailand, if you spend $15 on a meal in a lot of places, how did that happen? It's pretty cheap there.
Mm. Thanks for that information, Theo. Shout out to Naeem Abdul Ayad for the $5 super chat. He says, 100% Flames just joined. What's up? Thank you for the super chat, bro. It's a classic already, brother. See, the brothers just woke up. Sorry, he just joined the stream and straight away he super chatted, right? He's supporting the movement. It's crazy, Theo. Like, brothers, got over 90 people here and we haven't got a lot of super chats or cash app. Brothers, again, there's free intel and you're not supporting. I've had to force you, brothers, to hit the like button halfway through the stream. So what's going on there, brothers? Feel free to cash app to the channel and feel free to also super chat as well, brothers. That's all I ask for to validate the hard work that I put in for this channel. Shout out to Naeem Abdul Ayad. Thank you, brother. Next question for you, Theo, is how should men dress in Thailand? Should we wear hip hop attire, oversized jersey, Jordans, 3/4 trousers? How should we dress, brother?
No, man, don't dress anything like that. Jeans, you can do jeans. Um, Something like this for a top. I mean, you don't. It's hot, so you don't want to be dressing like too formal. You want something that breathes, because you're gonna sweat there. Um, yeah, I mean, if you could do you could do like a polo. That would be fine. Like jeans and a polo, you're good. Nothing more than that. Loafers, you don't need anything more than that. You're outdressing a great deal of the population. Don't go too overboard there. Like, okay, I've got like Brioni suits, Yves Saint Laurent, Armani. I wouldn't wear that in Thailand. Like, why? I mean, if I'm gonna get married for the wedding ceremony, I would do it. But afterwards, no, I don't need that. Um, the girls there, they're not wearing like really high, like kind of like Philippines. They're not wearing high level clothing, designer stuff. They're wearing very basic dresses. Thank God, 'cause those dresses are gorgeous on them. Simple, easy flowing dresses, stuff like that. So yeah, you're not. Don't be doing some like hip hop stuff. Don't be wearing Jordans. You're just showing yourself that you're a foreigner. Not only that, but a foreigner who has no clue. They're gonna look at you like you're a hood rat. Like the gangs, the people that like people up to no good, they're gonna target you. And so just don't do that. Like, please, for the love of God, don't do that.
What kind of shoes do you wear? Is that slippers, sandals, I'm guessing?
Sandals would be great there. Yeah. You don't just normal, just down to earth clothes. I mean, I'm not I've got some Nikes on with me right now. I wouldn't even wear them if I were there. I would probably get like a basic sandal, maybe no more than $30. Not flip flops, but something basic. I get a loafer, maybe a $50 loafer, pair of loafers. That would be like I might dress up to a restaurant, something like that. You
Okay.
don't even have to wear socks. Just you want to dress down there. You really want to be down to earth.
Thanks for that, Theo. Shout out to Mikhail Pace for the $10 super chat. Thanks for the info. Thank you, brother, for supporting the channel. Thank you, bro. One of the few people that have cash app and super chatted today, even though we have over 90 people. Thank you, brother. It's much appreciated for the support. Brothers, support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. So going on to my next question, Theo. Got a couple more before I open up the phone lines. How was the nightlife for you in general, Theo? Was it crazy? Was it a madness? Because I've seen the film The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio in it. I'm thinking, is it like that in Thailand? Was it exactly like that in Thailand, bro? The whole party scene and the nightlife in your experience, was it good?
I had friends who were there, and they were passing girls between one guy and another, and they were doing wild stuff until like 4 a.m. And some place. This is where on the beaches, and they were getting. The one thing I always I always told them, I said, like, so when you got home, did you take an STD test? It was like, yeah, it's the first thing I did. I went right to the hospital and took an STD test. Uh, so there's some crazy parties out there. Um, because that's what happens if the foreigners get together, and then the girls come out and they're looking for a guy, and then really it's like a super hookup culture. That some crazy stuff goes on, and basically these are girls who are willing to do anything to get the guy. So for me, I don't like that environment.
Mm,
That's just not. It's not. It's I'm not like that kind of like hookup like that, because you're gonna get a girl with a really high body count. But if you are, if you don't mind, there'll be girls out there who are like more like they're happy. They don't need Tinder. They're happy to start talking to you and get down within 2 or 3 hours. So yeah, that's definitely there. Um, it's almost in every beach area. But If you if that's your thing, okay, yeah, you can do it there. Yeah, yeah. Um, it just I'm too reserved to do that kind of stuff. But I would say during the day, uh, you could like, for example, the beach resort that you're at might have like some sort of function or get together, like at 5 o'clock or something like that, and then you go to it, and then you start talking to Thai girls afterwards. That would be safer. I would say generally during when the sunlight is out is when you get something more secure. When the sun goes down, that's when the crazy starts.
And brother, I think brother, two questions for you now, Theo. Removing the woman out of the way, would you say it's just a good experience, the nightlife in Thailand, especially in the beach, just dancing? And what kind of music do they play as well? Is it rap music? Is it techno music? What kind of music do they play there?
EDM,
Okay.
yeah, like
And I'm guessing it's mostly like there's a lot of drugs being taken as well and all that stuff.
no, no, no. Don't do drugs in Thailand for the love of God. Don't
Hmm.
do that. Don't smuggle it in. Don't be trying. Don't even be playing with it. Nah, nothing. Man, don't even sniff curry. Eat it, but don't sniff it. I'm telling you, it's kind of a joke, but I'm like, do not take drugs in Thailand. That is one place I would never want to take a drug in. If you bring prescription drugs, make sure everything is sealed. You do not want to deal with narcotics in the Thai government. No way. They will put you away. I thought Singapore was bad. Yeah, it is. So is Thailand. Um, you're gonna go out there in the nightlife. If somebody offers you a drug, don't even think about it. Um, don't no. But you can go out there and party all night long. Yeah, and they might say, for example, like you might be on a beach resort, and they might be like, "Hey, there's an island over there, and we're going to like have a 2-day excursion out there, and doesn't really have infrastructure, but we're going to go out there and bring everything that you need to be out there, and we have parties. Want to go out there?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure." And you go out there and you have your fun with them, and there might be some Thai girls there that just totally go after you. Now, that's what my friends did, and they've brought me all kinds of stories about that. Yeah, they had a good time doing that. These are the white and black friends who are going out and do their thing. Um, yeah, that again another experience. But again, I want to emphasize that to anybody who's listening: do not do illegal drugs under any circumstance in Thailand. Like take aspirin and that's it. That's as far as it goes. Be careful. Don't have any excuse. Don't be like, well, 420 is okay back home, so I can. Not in Thailand. Don't play that game. There's no lawyer for you. Don't play it.
Wow, thanks for that, Theo. Theo, can we speak about is it worth brothers uh, living living in resorts, in beach resorts, and booking beach resorts? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like how you can do it in Jamaica and Barbados. Is it just
Mm-hmm.
worth booking a resort there, living there for a week, and just partying within and meeting girls within that beach resorts and stay there? Is it worth
What
doing
I
that,
would,
bro?
what I would do is, if you wanted to have a long term, so I mean, we got to have this. We got to have Tony up here and talk about different strategies. What let's say that you were, let's say that you had a remote job and it was basic, but it's remote. So let's say that it's only like $80,000 a year. Um, $80,000 a year remote job, if it was solid, could more than take care of you in Thailand, and you can live there remotely, and you can actually just make sure your internet provider is good, but you can be on a resort or you can go to an apartment. I know plenty. I'll say I met plenty of Westerners who were there doing just that, and they were just working during the night, and then during the day they could do what they wanted. Um, it's very cost effective. I don't know how the visa situation works, but that's what they can do. Now, there's another thing too. If you only made like $80,000 a year, and you didn't want to go for a Japanese girl, you wanted a dark Thai, then you could definitely, with just $80,000 a year remote, you could definitely go to Thailand and stay there for an extended period of time with just that job, and date Thai women. That would be an effective strategy. You would have more than enough money to support yourself, to support all the food, all your amenities. You could support a girl. I'm assuming I support a girl. You could date her. You could the entire relationship. You could foot the bill. Plus, you would have enough money, even on $80,000, to pay for a plane ticket to bring her back to your country if you wanted to. It would not be an issue. Um, with with Japan, you need a different strategy. You really need to think that one out. Like it's more like you need to think of it like I'll put it in European terms. It'd be like if you're in London and then you met a traditional woman, but she's in Paris. Okay, well, at least in that situation, you can bring her into the tunnel, right? It's a train ride, right? So it's not so bad. Whereas if you were like, let's say that again, Tony's here. He's Seattle, Niigata. Well, you got to bring her over. You got to pay for that. You know, she ain't gonna pay for that. You got to pay for it. So you have to have a strategy for that. You know, you have to have a place to live. You get back, it has to be furnished. You have got to think about all the money that she's gonna need. She got to get herself settled. You got to get herself assimilated. Whereas, let's say that you only had $80,000, and then you brought her from Thailand. You got a visa, and you brought her over, like say the United States, because it's an easy example for me. You can live in the countryside or in a red state in the countryside here in America, and as long as you treated her really well, I'm not talking like simping. What I'm talking is like, just respect her and love her. That's it. It's like kind of simple. She would be more than happy to live with you with $80,000 a year. She wouldn't have a problem with it. She wouldn't be thinking about hypergamy as long as she didn't have to work. And you could easily do that. You don't need to have a BMW. You could have a used Toyota. I've met girls like that here in Austin. And Austin's kind of more of a high-level city. You can be in the countryside and do that. It wouldn't be that hard to do. So I would say that would definitely be an option for guys who are talking about getting a foreign woman, but they don't have that much money. This would be one effective strategy that would actually work. You could actually do this also with the Philippines, that you have to figure out how to deal with the visa. But you could also, Filipino women, when they come over to the United States, they have more of a tendency to become a little bit more materialistic. They actually understand what value is, but they tend to be more 1950s as well, not Thai. And they stay down to earth, non-materialistic pretty much their entire life. That's what I've always found with them.
So Theo, sum up the question I asked you. It's okay for brothers, if you're spending a week there in Thailand, it's okay to book a beach resort there, stay within the hotels there and just experience the beach around there. Don't go anywhere else. Just deal with the women there. Have a great time.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend. I would definitely if I were going back to Thailand, especially now that I'm single, I would work there. I would choose a low-cost budget resort where you can get a package deal, say like $50 a night at the most, or you can get like rent out an apartment, say like for $500 a month. You can definitely do this in Thailand. And then I would just go there for 2 months and stay there. Be easy. If you definitely want to go there for at least 2 weeks. That's just because the jet lag is so bad that you're gonna need a little bit of time to adjust. You're not gonna land and like, oh yeah, I gotta get some girls now. You're gonna land and you're gonna be like, I'm gonna go sleep. I'm tired. That was a long flight. My legs don't work. Where am I? I don't know. There's no English. Like, where do I go? I can't read anything. I don't even know the alphabet. What am I doing? It's like totally alien to you. And so they will show you where to go, and maybe you get a taxi. Like if you're in a resort area and they know where you're landing, if they can get access to the airport, maybe you can get transportation to the resort, and then that's easy. That's something less you have to worry about, and then just go sleep, wake up, and then start going from there.
Thanks for that, Theo. Shout out to Spooky Pork for the $20 super chat. He says, "Good channel, Flames." Thank you, bro. It sounds like you're new to the channel, brother. Call in, brother. Introduce yourself. Welcome to the International Passport Movement. See, brothers has just joined the movement, and he's already super chatting. So, brothers who have been watching my channel over time, who are part of the over 80 people watching this, Cash App, super chat, support the channel is greatly appreciated. Theo, going on to my next question, Theo. Got a couple more, four more before we open up the phone lines. What's the ratio of women to men in Thailand? It's particularly those areas you mentioned, those beaches you mentioned earlier on, the cities. Is it more women than men? Is it unfortunately more men than women, or is it 50-50?
This is gonna sound bad. This is gonna sound totally pompous. But the way I looked at it, there were only women in Thailand.
Damn.
I mean, that sounds really bad. I'm sorry. I mean, that does. I never even recognized the existence of the men in terms of the dating scene. I was just like, if I really want to go after that girl, I can go after that girl. As long as she's single, I have some ethics, but it's not going to be an issue for me to go after her. Every Thai girl that I was around gave that vibe that I could go for her, and I knew what to do, so it wasn't an issue. I never really cared. And I would say that was probably, except for Korea and China, that was pretty much my overall feeling out throughout all of Asia. I never really recognized the men on the dating scene. I knew, like, we in the Manosphere, we talk about Chad and Tyrone. I knew that I was Tyrone. I knew it from day one. It was just a question of execution. Did I want to execute in that area? Yes or no? Again, it sounds bad. Again, I don't want people to think that I'm some sort of arrogant jerk. It's just the way it was.
Thanks for that, Theo. Should N-word use, Theo, did you hear that at all? Did they refer to you as that? Were they racist towards you? Did they call you the N-word?
No.
You heard the N-word at all?
No, if anything, I'm a sex tourist foreigner. That I heard. Are you some sort of perverted sex tourist out here to screw a 10-year-old? That kind of thing. That kind of conversation was there.
Yeah, please refrain saying that, Theo, man. Let's not.
Okay.
Yeah, careful, man.
I'll be more discreet. So that's the kind of stuff they don't that they think maybe that's what you're there to do. Outside of that, nah, man, they didn't care about color. Nah, not at all.
Okay, Theo. Should brothers travel alone or in a group to Thailand?
I would say in Thailand you need to travel in a group. I would much more recommend that, especially if you're not a seasoned traveler. So like J Bones, he can go to Thailand by himself. Sean Camp, like I'm looking at these guys, what they're saying. No, he can go to Thailand by himself. He wouldn't have an issue. I can go there by myself because you would know how far to go and where not to go almost by instinct. But if you haven't really traveled, you need a backup plan for Thailand. You need somebody looking behind your back, just in case you have an issue. And you need somebody to, if you're gonna go dating, that would be just somebody to be your wingman. All my white friends, when they've gone to Thailand, they've always gone there as a group, at least 3 guys. Again, this is my personal point of view. I would just say, just guys, be hesitant of going there alone. If you do go there alone, make sure you have your transportation to a resort area or your lodging, your hotel. Make sure it is very confirmed that they're talking to you in English. And then when you get there, you want to network as fast as you can with a foreigner, with a Westerner. And then you want to get local knowledge as fast as you possibly can. Not the Japanese. If I were there, I would network with the Japanese. But you're going to talk with Westerners, particularly Western European. So you're going to network with the Germans, Swedes, English, Spaniards, Italians. Talk to them. They're going to have a lot of cool information. If you want to, some crazy stuff, you might want to also network with Russians. They're there. But there's an amazing amount of Slavic women in these areas. And you have to, they're not working girls for the most part, but you're kind of wondering how the heck they got there. And that's where it's kind of dangerous. Like, what do they do? How did they get to Thailand? What's going on?
Yeah, but okay, I'm going to touch on that real quick. Hold on, brother. So you would say in general, Thailand is a safe country and city for black men. Is that what you're saying, Theo?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Again, I'm going to talk about what Sean Camp is saying on there. If you're an experienced traveler, you know not to do stupid things, like not to be loud, like not to really show or emphasize that you're a foreigner. You know how to blend in more effectively, even if everybody knows that you're the foreigner who's black. The black foreigner is right over there. They all know it. But you're not sticking out, which kind of sounds like an oxymoron. But if you're an experienced traveler, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, and for example, you're somebody who goes around smiling a lot. Like, that's not something you're supposed to do when you're traveling. You don't go around smiling. Hey, hey. No, you keep your smile hidden. All right? Because if you're smiling, it means you're pretty much a target. It's like a feminine thing to do. And somebody will look at you as being inexperienced and not having a clue. So if you have that mentality already, then you can, even as a black man, you're not going to have a problem. You can go all over Thailand. You can also do Laos, Cambodia pretty much the same way. They're always going to care. They know you're the foreigner. They, okay, you want some food, you want some water, fine, no problem. You go sleep over there. It's good. No, they understand. But if you don't understand what to do and how to act, if you're loud, you're argumentative, you're smiling too much, you're talking way too much crap, then yeah, you need to travel in a group to protect you from yourself. So that's why a real recommendation, if you've never really been to other countries before, of course you don't speak in Thai, so that means you're an illiterate in their country. If you go into the countryside looking for a girl, you could have some trouble. So you need to have somebody there to make sure that you don't do something stupid. But if you're an experienced traveler, you can go to the countryside and look for girls. Yeah, it'll work. Because you're gonna know how to chat someone up. You're gonna be able to go to, like, again, a restaurant, a cafe, a shopping area, and just start talking and make little jokes in English. And they're like, oh yeah, that's a foreigner. Oh, maybe my English maybe you can teach me some English, and then you start talking and something happens. So it's not so hard to do.
Thanks for that, Theo. Theo, one last question before you follow the phone lines. Did you see any other races of women there in Thailand, and were they checking for brothers?
The Slavic girls seem to be checking for anyone.
Okay.
I had to really kind of wonder about them. So I was like, I don't want to deal with you. I saw Latinas there. Not many, but I did see some. I saw some Argentinians and Chileans. I really wondered if they were like some sort of model, or like they were like, some sort of professional image girl, and that's why they were there. Maybe they're making some sort of photo layout in Thailand because the beaches are so good. Yeah, that did definitely sell. I saw some white American girls. Nothing there, but I mean, they're there. Yeah. So yeah, there's other nationalities there. Of course, because it's international area. But the big one that I saw internationally was the Slavic girl. I always wondered how the heck she got there.
Slavic meaning Russian, Slovakian, all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah, Ukrainian. Like, what's a Russian girl doing there? Like, because usually the Russian party place is going to be like the Middle East. So what's she doing in Thailand? And if she's by herself, then how she get the money to do it? If she's part of a package tour, okay, so how long is she there? And she's there like, yeah, I was there like, 2 months. So how'd that happen? And that's, you got to kind of need to worry about that, because it might be that she's like, some guy is working girl, like for
Mm.
real. So you need to be worried about it. Just have your caution, be cautious.
Thank you very much for this crazy interview, Theo. I am going to open up the phone lines. Before I do so, brothers, you know the deal. Uh, Join the Facebook group, brothers. The Facebook group is where you meet high value males such as Theo, Tony, J Bones, Thomas Demihin, and a few others, and a lot more. Sorry. So join the Facebook group, brothers. And of course, brothers, you want to make sure you follow me on Twitter and send me a DM. I need more followers on Twitter so I can get the retweets that like to push out the international passport movement. And of course, I will get back to your DMs on Twitter. So please follow me on Twitter, send me a DM, support the channel by retweeting and liking my content. Last but not least, brothers, I'm also on IG. Again, I post a lot of updates on IG. You want to make sure you follow me on IG and send me a DM as well. I can also give you a call through IG. Send me a DM. Let me know when you want to speak. I'll set up a time to speak to you directly, brothers. Um, and also, brothers, last but not least, brothers, please support the channel through the Cash App. Like I said, YouTube takes a 30% cut through like I said, YouTube takes a 30% cut of the super chats. Cash App doesn't. So please, if you want to support the channel fully, please do send through some donations for the Cash App. Much appreciated, brothers. I've got a couple of super chats here. Shout out to Lil Man JP for the $2 super chat. He says, "I know they speak English, but how much Thai will help?" Theo's already addressed that earlier on in the stream. Do you want to briefly touch on that very quickly, Theo?
Thai would be huge help, massive. Like, you can definitely get around and understand the signs. I would definitely say learn Thai if you can. If you're going to be there for a long period of time, um, definitely, you know, definitely learn Thai before you go there. And if you are there, then get some lessons. And it's actually from Thai lessons you might be able to find somebody to be with. That's my big recommendation. Yeah.
Great info. Thank you, Theo. Shout out to Keith Jenkins for the $7 super chat. Thank you, Keith. He says, "Salute to the channel, learning a lot, working on my confidence." Thank you, bro. I hope this channel is helping with your confidence. As you can see, and Theo will agree with me as well, the world is our oyster, brothers. So many countries are checking for brothers. Theo has been in the main part within the action. He's here to give intel to brothers. The world is our oyster. They're checking heavy for brothers. It's not just Western women. Head out there, work on your confidence, and all will be good for you, brothers. Shout out to Keith Jenkins. Last but not least, shout out to Mike M for the $20 super chat. Thank you, Mike M. He says for Team Asia. That's what's up, bro. Thank you, Mike M. Brothers, feel free to support the channel through the Cash App, through the super chats. It's greatly appreciated. It's almost 4 a.m. over here in the UK, brothers. I'm working so hard for you, brothers. Aren't I, Theo? I've got streams every day or every other day. The SYSBM stream, the stream I did yesterday with the wonderful Jackie Jack, where she told brothers to go their own way, and she agreed with me that educated brothers such as Theo and me and other brothers should leave the community. Theo, have you left the community already, Theo, or are you still with the Pookie and Ray Rays, Theo? Theo's left.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I'm
See?
not. I'm not a part of that. Pookie and Ray Ray would not be allowed in my area. Sorry. If I
Mm-hmm.
if I saw Pookie and Ray Ray next to my 808, I just call the police and get them removed. And then that would be the way it is. But that'd be basically for anyone who doesn't have enough money. I would just I don't even deal with that. Kind of classic bougie. What can I say? Yeah, that's what I am. No, I don't even deal with that kind of culture, and I've always dealt with more of an international culture. And the way we move, we're not even thinking about the local girls in the West.
Mm.
We're done. We're not. If you're a Western girl, any kind of modern Western girl, you guys will that woman will not be able to hang with us.
Mm.
We'll just get rid of her.
There you
Um,
go. Carry on, Theo.
Yeah, we saw that in Japan as well. They had no place with us.
Oh, there you go, man. And brother, let me tell you this right now. Theo has left the community in general. Theo is not part of the US black community. He's part of the passport community. He's part of the international community. And you can see right now, he's a high value man. He's left all the shenanigans to the community, and he's stress free. Brothers, leave the community, live your own life, put yourself first. SYSBM. I know Theo is SYSBM. Save yourself, black man, and all will be good. So I will open up the phone lines, brothers. Please be respectful to our guest, VOWAF. Any rudeness, any calling out will result in a 5-minute timeout. If it's very bad, I will ban you permanently, no matter who you are. Okay? So here's the phone lines open up. While we get this up, do you want to say anything else, Theo?
SYSBM. That's the only answer.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about it that way, and it is kind of frustrating because in one way we are, like I always say in the West, we are relationship refugees. Like that, we have to go abroad in order to date, in order to actually have a family, and that's just the only way. That's the only option we have. But the option abroad is so good. So, in the West, we have ABWs or our own women saying that they want a man who makes at least $100,000, and it is also commented many times that we don't think the woman is worth $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
A girl in Thailand, oh yeah, she's worth 100,000. Like you don't even think about money; you'll be in La La Land. Like you gladly make that money. You don't have a problem with it. She's good, man. Anyway, you could tell, man. If I had a choice between a Venezuelan or a Thai girl, it'd be a real hard choice. I'm just thinking about that right now because I don't know much about Venezuelan women, so it'd be kind of interesting if I got a feminine traditional one. But I've dated so many Thai, and I would go date a Thai girl like that if I could, like instantaneously. Dark Thai, no questions asked, done.
Awesome, Theo. Shout out to Sean C2K for the $5 super chat. Who says, of all the places discussed in this channel, what would be your first choice to go to for someone who has never been out of the United States? Before you say that, Theo, Uncle me good bar, please, no caps, brother, no caps, brother, please. Yes, what's your choice on that, Theo?
Okay, so answer in the chat real quick. So, how old are you, and what do you do for a living? This is something that's kind of very important. I need to know like what kind of person you are. So that's something I really need to know. Yeah, you got definitely join Tony because you have had experience in this area. Okay, so maybe he's not there. Maybe he's not hearing it. I don't know.
Okay.
So it really depends on how old you are and how much money you have and what your education is and things like that. Oh, you're 50 years old. Okay, so if you've never traveled abroad and you're 50 years old, Costa Rica.
I was going to say that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's safe and it's easier to travel back to the United States, and you don't need Spanish so much that you live there straight on English. So that's the smartest thing to do. Somebody like me, I'm like, let's go to Siberia. Like let's go have some fun, right? Like Kazakhstan. Let's go see what it's like out there. Like I would go to Mongolia and say, oh, Genghis Khan thought he was something. I'll show you what I could do, right? But I'm nuts that way, right? I don't care. I just go out there and do it. But I'm pretty educated. I'm pretty experienced with travel, so I know how to do this. If you really don't know, again, 50 years old, Costa Rica, you're gonna need someone who sympathizes with you and is gonna treat you in a certain way, and you're not gonna be able to go that far away from being American. Like you're gonna stay really within your lane being American. Whereas again, I've been abroad for so long, I can pretty much empty all culture from me and act like like blend in and totally adapt to their culture very quickly, kind of like Jello, if I need to, and then I can survive there. And so, I don't mind. I think about like Thailand. I've already been to Asian grocers where they have like all the food is written in Thai, and I know how to pick the food that I want. This is in America or in Japan. I can do that. I don't need translations. So in Thailand, it'd be no problem. I know where to go. I know the food to buy. I'd be like, fine, we do it. But a guy for the first time going to Thailand, he would be like, oh my God, look at all these beautiful women. He doesn't know if he's talking to a transformer or not. And then he'd have a food problem immediately. And you don't want that. So go to Costa Rica.
Great answer to that question, Theo. Linwood Payne, clarify that question there, because I've made it very clear we're here on this channel to seek out long-term relationships with women abroad. We're not no puking and rare nonsense, making multiple baby mamas. We're not on that time, okay? So please, unless you're a troll, refrain that question, brother, okay? Let me bring in Jay Takashi. How you doing, brother? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, guys. Theo, my man, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. Preparing for Brazil today. So
awesome, man.
Yeah, doing a lot of exercise. Getting my muscles stronger. Focusing on that. Focusing quite a lot. So yeah, that's what I was doing. Working to death. Preparing a little bit for this stream. Preparing to get ready. I wanted to do a good. Give good intel, so that's what I'm worrying about, making sure I give a good presentation.
Well, you're doing a great job, man. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. Like I said, I'm always going to be Team Asia. People notice about me, I know I said in the previous stream that we did have when I said I would categorize this just because I've actually seen a couple of Thai women in America more so, but I've always classified Latina women as being sexy, but I always say Asian women, or I've always have they can vary from category, but I would say they're more pretty and cute. But that refers to Japanese women. But Thai women, I think they're a perfect blend of both. If I look at them, it's like a Latina and an Asian mixed together, the way I see it, which is really
yeah. The way I looked at them as being erotic and exotic at the same time.
Yeah, and I know Latina pretty much cover that area, but when I saw them, I'm just like, it's like I'm talking to someone who's like half Asian, half Latina, and I'm just like, this is crazy right now. And she's in America. I can't imagine what they're like in Thailand, to be honest.
They are hot. I mean, they're beautiful, but it's a lot of the personality. So one of the emphasis that you have in Buddhism, also in Asian culture, but also in Buddhism, is that femininity should be internally expressed out. So the woman should be internally beautiful, and then she shows it. Just like in Japan, there are girls in Thailand with messed up teeth. They got fangs coming out. I never cared.
Fangs.
Yeah.
Oh, you said fangs.
Yeah, it's fangs. Okay. That's what it is. They got fake. They got weird teeth. I never cared. She was so beautiful internally, and the way she acted, I was enthralled. I didn't even care about her teeth. I'd be like, yeah, I know your teeth are messed up. Who cares? Because you could always fix teeth, but you can't.
Right, you can't. That kind
that kind of personality, you can't fix that. And a lot of times with Thai women, I was thinking I would see her, and then I would see 3 children next to her. That's what I was thinking straight out.
Okay,
how soon can I reproduce with this chick? And I want this pregnant Thai girl is going to be really great.
Right.
Again, so I recommend it to you. You can work abroad, right? You can work remote.
Right now I'm trying to do a 4-year program that I'm planning for to get, so I can actually get a job that I can work abroad that I want to do. I forget his name, Obstacles, where he talked about he does real estate abroad, and he's in I think he's in Islam. I think is what he said. So I'm trying to see if I can do something similar to that effect. But
what state are you in?
I'm in South Carolina currently right now. I'm in the U.S.
South Carolina. You should go to my conference I have in Atlanta.
Oh, you
And
have
it's
one in
about
Atlanta?
yeah, it's going to be with cloud computing and how to actually work remotely doing computers, and it's free.
Okay, that's actually something I did want to talk to you kind of off air because I'm actually thinking of doing IT. It's like software because that's
Yeah,
something because I'm trying to go to where the money's at, and that's where they make the most
yeah,
money at.
yeah. So if you did this again, AWS, let's say you took the course, you passed, you got the certification, you did basic infrastructure, and then after that you did some software on top of that, you could easily be making $100,000 within a year and pure
Okay.
remote. And then at that time, you would have more than enough money just to sit on a beach all day long and work in Thailand or the Philippines. But those two countries you can do instantly. You just have to be worrying about visa requirements.
Visa requirements. Okay, got you. All right, Theo. So I guess my main question, I guess you guys covered a whole lot, and I think you've answered a few of them. I guess my main question for you is, and I know everybody here has said they prefer their woman not to have any type of tattoo, or whatever, since they are Buddhists, and I know about the Buddhist tattoo. If she is, and if they get inked on their back, like the actual religion, is that like a cause for concern?
I never. I'm trying to keep it PG.
I know.
I saw plenty of Thai women's backs that I never saw ink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because
So
I
it
was wondering
might
if that
be
was part
there.
of the Buddhist culture. That's what I was wondering. Because I know some of them do get it inked on their back because they want.
Yeah.
I know the Buddhist monks do it too, in a sense.
It's don't even worry about it. Nah, man, that's
Okay.
not an issue. Yeah. Yeah, you might find it more in the north of Thailand, but in
Okay.
the southern areas, in the beaches, then girls got to have their bikinis, man. They're not going to put a tattoo like that on them. I rarely
Oh,
saw any ink on a girl. On a guy, yeah, but not on a girl.
okay. So they're like covered up, kind of like an Islamic woman almost. If it's not like visible, or
Right,
if
right,
it's not like there. Oh, okay. Okay.
right. Yeah.
Um.
Okay.
Okay. I'm thinking if there's anything else, but
Thanks for that,
I
Jason
think you
Kashi.
mostly answered everything. IPA. I did have one question for you, bro. Well, actually, no, not a question. More some advice for you, my man. Listen, we respect your platform. We respect what you're doing every day. Um, like I said, don't work yourself to the bone, man. I know our time zones are so different. I know me and Theo are US, so we know. Just don't work yourself to the bone, man. Because like I said, your health is important, man. Just don't feel like you need to keep pushing it out, pushing it out. If there's a day that you can't do it, we will definitely all understand. Because
Thanks for that, bro.
trust me, man. I've been feeling the side effects of me overworking a little bit.
Mm.
I know Theo and Tony, they all work really hard. I'm working 2 jobs, trying to maintain the sleep, the working out, what Theo's doing, and like, it's a drain on you sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Theo, you talk about Japanese, dude. I spent 2 to 3 hours practicing my Japanese Power 101 conversation language and stuff. Oh.
All right, thanks for that, Jason Kashi, bro. I'm gonna take that advice on board,
Yeah.
brother. Thank you, bro.
All right, you guys
Put
have a
this up
good
on
night,
mute, bro.
man.
And
Yeah, see
stay
ya.
on the line, bro. I'll bring you back into Jason Kashi. Brothers, so if you have any questions for Theo, you call in. If you can't call in, please cash app or super chat your questions, and Theo will answer your questions through those 3 avenues. If you just post questions in the live stream chat, Theo will not answer it. We won't answer it. So you must either call in. If you can't call in, cash app or super chat your questions. And again, brothers, please support the channel by hitting the like button if you've not liked this video. And of course, please cash app and super chat. It is greatly appreciated. Let me bring in Sean Camp. What's up, brother?
Hey,
Sean
how's
Camp.
it going, guys? Hey, how you doing?
All good, bro.
I'm
How you
doing
doing, man?
good. I was thinking you
I'm
might
good.
have different street knowledge of Bangkok than what I had.
Well, just to touch on some of the things, I think the problem with the Transformers, I would say, will more be at night, and I totally agree with the clubs. Like that's where you're gonna run into the problems with those guys. Because I actually dated a couple of girls, from there. It's an international city, and some of these girls travel internationally, have high-end banking jobs. So that's, but you would not meet that at a club. And I totally agree with you about the malls and the cafes. I mean, you can just, and the big thing in Bangkok, I don't know if you know about this. One of the big things now, they opening up like these pet cafes where you can bring your pet, like to drink coffee. Oh
Yeah,
man, oh they
Japan
be
too.
there. I mean, yeah. So that's becoming a big thing. You can be some women there, but I would say as far as body count, patty your hands down. It's the worst place for that. More than Bangkok. I wouldn't even suggest it. If you go to Pattaya, you're not going to find anything remotely close to a wife there, because half the city is one big brothel, really. So, so you most definitely don't want to stay out of there. I think you can find some quality women in Bangkok, and it's just like any other big city. You wouldn't expect it in a club, I would say. So, but Pattaya, man, that's like you most definitely not
Mm.
gonna find anything there. And
So
then
Yeah,
one other thing,
apart from those two cities, Sean Camp, where's the best places in Thailand to meet quality feminine women that are checking for brothers, apart from Bangkok and
mm,
Pattaya?
me personally, I would say Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai, probably Chiang Rai. Um, and in the South, I wouldn't say Phuket because it's like that's another thing I wanted to touch. That's sneaky. The body counts can be high there because there's so many international tourists there. But my favorite spot would probably be Chiang Mai. Now, if
Okay.
you go out to the countryside, you can, but you're gonna have to know Thai. I've been out to the countryside, but I was with girls who was from there that actually lived in Bangkok, but they were from Isan or Udon. But you cannot go there by yourself thinking you're gonna get some women if you don't know no Thai.
right. Yeah, you have to be careful about it. I mean, this is where because so if you don't know the language, you're gonna be more of the international environment, and that's where you're kind of at a disadvantage because those girls are seeing a lot of foreigners, so they're the ones who are hunting. So then you have to be able to find some way of actually talking to a local and getting a local to introduce you to somebody else. That that would be
Yeah,
the way that I would do it when I was there. But of course,
yeah,
like that's how we got like people to like make food for us and things like that and talking with us. So that would be my game when if I went there right now as a single guy. Um, what can I say? Yeah, if you're there just to smash though, yeah. Well,
yeah,
because even
yeah.
like in Bhutan, you'd have to worry about Slavic girls going after you as well.
Uh, well, this is what. Yeah. I don't know if I told you guys before. When I was there with one of my buddies one time, a lady from Uzbekistan, like, actually literally ran up on my friend. Like, how did I had the same questions you had? How the heck she get there? That's like, yeah, because like you said, there's a lot of Russian, a lot of Ukrainian women there. Um, but I seen for myself and Patia, a lot of the Russian girls, they are actually pros. So, and that's probably how
Right.
they got there. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was my
yeah,
point. I was kind of sitting there. I was like, "What are you doing here? Like, what did you
exactly.
do?" And so, one of the things that I would look at is like, okay, so do you have like a photography crew? Because if she's working with a photography group, then I understand like she's like some sort of gravature model or something like that, right? But if that's not what
Hmm.
she was doing, I was like, well, the cash and you and like a job in like in Siberia doesn't work. How does this working? What are you doing? And that's when I was like, this back off. It was the same thing with
Yeah,
women in Japan, and Slavic women in Japan. I'd be looking at them like, okay, so where are you working? Like, really, where are you working? What are you
really
doing?
working at. Yeah, and something else you touched on, yeah, guys. You know, I know some of you guys might, as far as the weed thing, but do not do anything in Thailand. Theo was absolutely right about that. Yeah, you would get locked up forever if you just had a little bit of drugs on you. So you most definitely don't want to do that there. And this the other thing you do not want to do. Do not disrespect the king over there. I seen it firsthand. I done
Mm.
seen tourists get yeah, I done seen tourists get beat down because of that. And everybody jumps in, the women, the men, and most of the time it was WMs like from Europe or Australia, like
Hmm.
they'll say, explicitive the king, or they might just throw some money like with his face on it and stuff on it. I've been seen it. So whatever you do, don't say anything about the royal family. Don't say nothing about the king. Everybody would jump on you. I didn't seen it.
Yeah.
So I've been there 11 times. I've been to Thailand 11 times. So I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So maybe this is something that I learned in Russia, because in Russia, specifically, I was told don't say anything about politics. And when I
Hmm.
was talking to Russians, I saw they did not talk about politics either. Like, you do not, it was taboo. So I learned not to say anything about politics in another country, especially to the natives. If I talk about politics, it's only in a room, a closed room with other foreigners. Then we can yap. Um, so yeah, when I went there, of course it was like with Japan. I would never say something against the imperial or the emperor. They're the emperor and the empresses, the princesses and princess. Okay, they're doing stuff. That's them. Um, but in Thailand, I wouldn't say anything. But you're exactly right. Don't do it, because you say something and they hear about it. It's not going to go well with you.
Yeah. And back to the women. I just it's like Theo says, it's unexplainable. These girls are just so seductive and erotic. It's just like, to me, out of all the places I travel right now, Brazilians and Thais, they just got me. Like I can't explain it. It's like they have some secret seductiveness to them. Like Theo said, he really can't explain it, but yeah, yeah, man,
and they're checking for
that's
brothers heavy out there, strong camp.
oh yes. And the thing with Theo said is like, because me and Theo we kind of like got the same complexion, so like, and you see a lot of ties with our complexion, so it's kind of like they already, I guess that could be something that draw them, like so. But yeah, they checking for brothers hard all over. When I was, oh man, when I was in the countryside, like I said, I was with my girl at the time. But man, like they were looking hard. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's why I say, like, when it comes to cold approach, I because they gave that look, it wasn't really like a cold approach. It was just like the invitation was there. So like all you had to do was walk through with it. It was simple, but if you're not able to detect that look, that's it.
Yeah,
You're always going to be
yeah,
like wondering what's going on. But once you're able to see it, you're like, oh, there it was. Oh my goodness, I want to date her or not. Um, that's why it was so easy for me, like, again, Thai in Tokyo, because they were always giving me that look, and I was like,
that
okay,
look,
let's
yeah.
go.
And something I wanted to ask you, Theo, now, the guy you were saying that brought the tie back, and her eyes, I'm wondering, where did he meet her in Thailand? Because from what I've seen, even some of my foreign friends, like especially my Australian friends, I don't know what's up with those guys, but they have a thing about getting girls from bars and think they gonna change them, and they bring them back to their country, and then when they leave them, I'm like, why would you think she would change, like a bar girl? Like, do you know where you met her at in Thailand? The
I didn't. All I know is that he brought her over from Thailand.
mm-hmm.
But he doesn't. he doesn't really have money. I didn't go too far because it was her husband, right? But it
Yeah.
was from where the depiction is maybe he's making $80,000, maybe like $70,000. But in Austin,
Okay.
that's really not good money.
Damn. What?
And yeah,
Yeah, that's the same
and
here. IP where I stay, 80,000. That's not really.
So what are you meant to be earning in Austin to live a good life? 150, Theo?
I would say right now $250,000.
What?
It's Austin's turning into a California.
Oh,
And yeah, it's growing at a rate right now of 300 people per day.
Yeah, all the
Wow.
companies, all the Silicon Valley moving there. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
we got Tesla. Tesla's coming. We've got all these other companies coming in. Now these people have real money, and so a lot of people are being displaced. So you have to have a decent kind of money. So the main idea is that if the woman works, her salary shouldn't be necessary to pay any bills in the house. If it is, then you're going to start having a problem. And I knew that guy was having a problem. So I just, again, I sat back and was like, I know where this is going to go. I don't deal with that. I don't deal with other men's women. But she was on the market for sure. I knew it. It just, you had to have enough money. Oh yeah, okay. You had to have enough money. That's it.
okay. Hey,
Yeah,
thanks for that,
yeah,
Sean Camp.
because when you
Hold on, brother. Let me
okay,
just read
yeah,
out a couple of super chats. Shout out to
okay,
Uncommit Goodbar for the $5 Canadian super chat. He says, off topic, Theo, I got to hit you up on FB. IP, take care of your health, bro. Oh yes, definitely I will, bro. Thank you, bro, for those kind words. Uncommit Goodbar. Much appreciated, brother. Shout out to Bala Jalal for the $5 super chat. He says, great intel from Theo again. The brothers were informed. Yes, indeed. Thank you again, Theo, for taking the time out to drop intel for brothers that need this. Got another super chat. Shout out to the legendary Derek Taylor. What's up, Derek, for the $5 super chat? He says, awesome stream, Theo. You had me sold on Thai women when you said they are like an adult wonderland. Sean Camp confirmed that many times ever since. Wonderful. Thanks for that, Theo. Thanks for that, Sean Camp. Carry on, Sean Camp, bro. One more question for Theo, and I'll bring in Mr. International.
oh yeah, just just pretty much everything Theo said. Pretty much dead on. I had to differ with the Bangkok thing a little bit because, like I said, I think Patty is actually worse. Um, but that was kind of like it. But I think Ty's made wonderful. I know guys who married to him never had any issues. Now they can be jealous. Like
Yeah.
they're very jealous. Like I said, I dealt with them, so they can be real jealous. Now never had any instances like where they like shouted or anything. They'll just get quiet on you for a couple of days and they'll drive you crazy. But that's the extent from what I did. Or they might, they might catch you looking, they might tap you or something. But like I said, the problems I seen most guys have with them if they try to bring or marry a bar girl that like a working girl, and believe it or not, a lot of guys do it. And you're not gonna be able to reform a woman like that. But all the guys who met them in regular situations, they're happy and they fine.
Okay.
That's
Sorry, brother. Shout out to Lil Man JP for the $2 super chat. Sorry for missing your super chat, bro. He says intel on being black and knowing some Chinese and China feel. Sorry.
huh?
Shout out to Lil Man JP for the $2 super chat. Intel on being black and knowing some Chinese and China feel. Do you know what that means, Phil?
My advice is don't go after Chinese women. I don't know if you have a stream on that, if other people have talked about it. I say Chinese women are no go.
Oh,
Because the ratio of men to women is high. There's a lot of men and fewer women, and the men are increasingly having money and are going after them. And we're seeing a simp culture go on in China in order to get the women, and the women are prolonging. They're going for careers, and feminism is actually increasing there. That's not a good situation for you. Why would you go in there? And then I've talked with other international matchmakers, and they said increasingly Chinese men are looking on the international market for wives. So if that's not why you would go in that situation, I don't know. That should be hands off. Don't even touch it.
Yeah, good point. I think, brothers, when it comes to each Asian woman, can we please prioritize Japanese women and then Korean women after? But for us, it should be Japanese women as number one and then Korean women. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know about that, brothers. But I need to gather more intel regarding Chinese women. But for me, Japanese women, Korean women for on the East Asian side, and maybe Taiwanese women and Hong Kong women. But I don't have much intel on Taiwanese and Hong Kong women. But we'll get that later in the future.
I would just do Japan, Philippines, Thailand.
Okay.
It's the L, like that. Just they're the ones who, like, if they woke up the next morning and they had a half black kid inside of them, they'd be like, "Oh, cool."
Right. Right.
Right. No, the Chinese girl would maybe be having an human termination, right? But the Filipino would be like, "Oh, good, I got a baby." The Thai like, "Oh, good." Japanese gonna be like, "Yeah, take it down, yeah, take it down." So, like, you don't want to. Like, they're fine. That's where you want to do impregnation, okay, guys?
It's crazy, Phil, because Japanese women are pretty right wing. Like you said, a good amount of them think like Candace Owens, but they love brothers. It's crazy how I don't know how that works there, but Japan is a very weird country. Women out here thinking like Candace Owens, very conservative, very right wing. Like the things you would hear from a Japanese woman's mouth, you're probably thinking, "Whoa, am I speaking to a Japanese Candace Owens here right now?" And then
Yeah.
you find out she loves brothers. Wow, how does that even work for you? It's crazy.
I just say, "Hey, make it rain. Hey, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah. Let's do this. Yeah. Japan's a different country. Let's just say that Japan's a different country. Yeah. It's definitely good. It's a good place to start. Yeah, because Japanese is easy to learn. Also, again, Philippines, you can survive really well without just English. Thailand, again, your money's gonna go far. It's easier to date the women. The women are looking at you. You can stay there for a prolonged period of time. These are your really good areas where in Asia in order to hook up with someone and get married. Yeah. And again, Thailand is beautiful. It's a really good place to go. Yeah. What can I say? Maybe my next will be Thai. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll be in Brazil, and I'll be looking at the Brazilian women. I'll meet a Thai girl, and that'll be it. That's it. I tried. I got the Thai girl. Got me.
Thanks for that, Theo. And thanks for that, Sean Camp, Jeb. Is that it, Sean Camp? I will come at you later on, Sean Camp. So please, if you have any more things on your mind, Sean Camp, I'll come at you later on. Okay, brother? Let me bring in...
Thank you, Theo.
Yep. Thanks for that, Sean Camp. Put yourself on mute, brother. Let me bring in Mr. International and the legendary Tokyo 64. What's up, Mr. International? What's up, brother?
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? I would just like to say thank you to International Passport for staying up with us. It's like 4 a.m., maybe going on 5 right now, and I just want to say thank you for staying up like almost every day and giving us this vital information, because you don't know how much it's helping us out, man. It really helps me out every day, being in the U.S. and these trials and tribulations, and I just come on here every single day. It's the truth, man. I come on here every single day, man, and I'm telling you, the world wants me to be a Pookie and Ray Ray, and they want me to be a statistic, and I come on these lives, and I was talking to my buddy Jamal Newman. You know, he won't mind me shouting him out on this type of channel and stuff. And we was talking about traveling, and you know, there's only a few like-minded. And I just also like to thank, you know, Tony Berry's here too. But I was going to, before Tony Berry popped on the screen, I was going to thank Theo Waff. So I want to thank both of y'all, because both of y'all are like role models and mentors to me. And I'm not where I want to be in life, but I want to be a high value man, just like all three of y'all, man. And Sean Kemp, you know, well versed in travel. So I just want to say thank you to all of y'all for taking your time out of work, or, you know, using your free time to, you know, give us some knowledge. So I really just wanted to say thank you about that. And I also have a question, but first I just want to say thank you to y'all.
Thank you for the kind words, Mr. International. I appreciate that,
Yep.
brother. Fire away any questions you have for Theo.
All right, so you kind of touched on it earlier, but I just want to have like kind of like a concrete kind of answer. So first of all, what would be the best time period to go? Like not as a month, but like let's say like 2 months, 1 month, 3 weeks. What would be the best time period that you'll be able to see all of Thailand? Like, would it be like 2 months, 3 months, 1 month? And also, what is your favorite place, like your favorite beach? You know, because I used to see like little videos, and they got like so many attractions in Thailand. But like, what's your favorite place to go to when you go to Thailand, and what you would recommend?
I don't know why you would want to see the whole country. That's a lot. It's a lot of country to see. There's a lot of areas, a lot of travel. That means you would be exposing yourself to more risk. The more in the interior you go, the less likely you're able to get to international help if you need it, and the more you're gonna need Thai. And you're not gonna. You might be okay. You may not. So you need to be careful about that. So I would say stay around the beaches and stay, again, Bangkok down to the south. And if you do want to go to the countryside, try to organize a 1-day excursion where you're going there in a group, where you actually know what's going on. Go out someplace, do it, stay at a hotel for a night, and then come back, and that's it. My favorite place, I didn't really have one. It wasn't really. I kind of saw it all as one big experience. Putinaya. I mean, I like that. I like that place, but it was commercial. I knew it was commercial. But I didn't care. It was good. It was the kind of commercial I wanted because I was a foreigner traveler, so I wasn't going deep into the culture. So I needed things to be ready for me because I don't speak it. I don't know what's going on. I don't have local knowledge, and so I have to be a little more careful. So that's what I would say. There's some really great places. There's some really great places you can go there. Just go with a group, and if you do want to go there for an extended period of time. Don't be like a week or 2 weeks. No, man. If you really want to have an experience, go there for at least a month and make sure that you can work remote. Then it's not an issue. If you can't work remote, then we got to start talking about ways of you can work in remote, changing your career so that you can have options. So you can do remote in multiple places. Then you've got it.
Thank you, Theo. I got a super chat here. Shout out to Little Man JP for the $5 super chat. He says here, Theo, any info on the Stan countries, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, etc., very exotic features, and I would imagine being black there would be like celeb. Is that true, Theo? Any info on that, Theo?
We talked a little bit about this, not only in my stream, but another gentleman's stream as well. Kazakhstan is like kind of the exotic thing, but I just want to admit that because you're talking about the former Soviet Union. They know about Kim Kardashian. Like they're very aware of her, and the Georgian look is becoming, and the Azerbaijani look is becoming more exotic there, and they're aware they've got booty, and we're seeing girls more and more having the booty. I'm like, what the hell is this? right? Like, well, they're like, dude, Kim Kardashian. I'm like, why do you have this American trash on your phone and your television? I don't have it, and I know how to cut this stuff off, but it's there. So the Georgian women look exotic, man. I gotta admit, they're hot. Whew! But Kazakhstan, yeah, Kazakhstan. That's where you want to focus on.
Can we? Do you have enough info on that show for you to do a stream with me on that, or is this what you just heard? And yeah, I know. Okay, that's fine.
When I was a student, I was in Kazakhstan for about 2 days. But I was always looking behind my shoulder, and I was being followed by the KGB. So I was, I don't know, dating was going on. It was more like, where's food? Okay, I'm seeing this historical monument. Can I get on the bus and leave now, please? That's what it was. I'm done. I gotta go home. Right.
Damn.
Yeah, very practical.
All right, thanks for that, Theo. We got the legendary Mr. Tony Berry in the house. How you doing, Tony Berry?
What's up, brothers? What's up, man? Thank you, brothers. Once again, IP, thanks for having me up here in the honor. And I love and respect you, man. And Theo, Mr. International, thanks for that Facebook reach out, brother. Sean Camp, DC in the house. What's up, brother? You know what, man? This is another classic, man. I'd rather be on this than watching some daggone TV show, brothers. Trust me. IP, man, you are like the Malcolm X of the international world, brother. Trust me, you are slowly forming into that individual. And I love Malcolm X, and it says a lot. But you are, brother. People don't realize that we are in our infancy here, man. We got some good brothers up here giving some solid intel. And I respect Theo because that's the way I am too. I've been to many countries, but if I haven't spent as much time in that country like Turkey to give enough intel, I'd rather pass it on to a brother that can, because I don't want to waste. I don't want to make up stuff, brother. That's not what we do here on this platform. We are serious about what we tell brothers, because we can't have brothers spending their hard-earned money going somewhere and getting the wrong information.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We can't have that, brothers. And the thing is this, like Theo was saying, man, I was listening to this thing because I had one ear like this, right? And I was watching a football game, and I said, no, I got to get in on this, right? So I was listening to what he's saying, man. And the thing he mentioned was the tempers, between the Japanese and the Thais, man. And look, I've dated a lot of Thais. I dated a lot of Japanese, more Japanese than Thai. But I can tell you, Japanese, their temper is nothing, man, really. It's like, okay, whatever, right? They're not going to get physical. They're not going to throw. They're not going to break stuff. That's very rare. But a Thai, man, she will throw stuff at you. You got to watch out for that frying pan, hot food, boiled water, whatever the case may be, man. They get mad. They throwing stuff at you. And that happened to me when I was an 18-year-old kid dating a young Thai girl that I didn't know nothing about the culture, man. So I made a lot of mistakes then. But as I got older, I didn't have any more Thais get mad at me after that. And like they said, you got to be a man with them. And the big thing that Theo was saying, guys, and me and Theo are going to do a stream on this with IP. You got to have your wealth, man. Mm-hmm. If you got wealth, they're going to listen to you. Thais are very tricky. I would say a Thai is like a cat. Okay, if I could put an animal to it, I would say a Thai is like a cat, because a Thai could be smooth as silk, like they say the airlines, Thai Airlines, smooth as silk. They really are, because you could be making love to a man and be all good up and everything is all good, and you come on the next day, your closet's empty. Not your stuff, but her stuff is gone, because she saw something better, or she had her eye open for something else, because you didn't stand up to your game. Mm-hmm. So you just never know with Thai. Japanese, that would never happen. Japanese will go through the emotional state, and then they'll stay with you. But Thais, man, you just don't know.
You don't know. No, you don't know. You have to be really careful about it and understand it. I think now that, especially because we understand how to maintain frame, that conversation is there, it'd be a little bit easier to maintain frame with a Thai, particularly because, you're taken. I have the money, so I can do that. I can say, like, hey, you're not. This is the way you're going to act, and if you don't act that way, you can get out the door. And Ty would definitely be on board with that and say, okay, I understand. I'm with a real man. He can pay for everything. I'm good. The difference is, again, when we say pay for everything, I want you to understand with Ty, she's not saying, take me to the mall, I'm going to buy everything, and you're going to pay for everything. You ain't going to have that issue.
No.
But she's going to be like, yeah, well, she likes Thai food. You will like Thai food if you date a Thai. Like,
Yes, you will.
Yeah, you will learn. You'll be eating that every day. So she's be like, well, you're gonna take me to an Asian grocer, and we're gonna buy Thai food, and then I'm gonna prepare it for you, and then maybe we're gonna do something fun afterwards, and it'll be nothing too much, and it won't be anything too expensive, and you're kind of sitting back enjoying life. And you're like, okay, yeah, of course I'm gonna do this. Whereas you'll never hear a Thai girl say, "Where's my bag?" Like, Louis Vuitton just came out with a new series. I want one of them. Nope.
They're very simple.
They're simple. Yep. Entirely simple.
But the Japanese are simpler.
They're more sophisticated, but you have to think like Japanese. If she buys Prada, like the famous joke, if they buys Prada and there's like one thread out of it, she'll just put it back in the box and take it back and say, "Give me my money back and give me a new one." Whereas the American won't even know a thread is out, right?
No.
Well, the Thai girl will be like, "I don't care about Prada. what's Prada?
Yeah.
Why would I wear Prada?" Right?
Yep. And to add on that too, the reason why Japanese are product conscious, I know my wife isn't, but I know the ones that are. Here's what I noticed. Because they're working in an industry, they're basically salaried girls, they're office girls, and they're basically shopping to dress to go to work. They want to look good when they go to work. So that's why they'll get the Louis Vuitton, the Pradas and stuff. My wife wasn't an office girl. She never had been in Japan. She got hired, she got out of college, but we got married after that, so she never took the job. But she would have probably been doing the same thing. She would have said, oh, maybe I do need to get this, maybe I do need to get that. But it depends on their occupation. It depends on what they feel like they need to do to impress.
Yeah, that's what I found. That's what I thought so too, as well. Like, you got a lot of girls who are competing with other girls.
Yes.
And so if they're asking the guy for expensive clothing, it's because of competition. It has nothing to do with you. So I mean, I remember that, but this was a bad memory because like the amount of money I was spending on her clothes, I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, I just made $15,000 this month and like $10,000 worth of clothes and bags. So like, what the heck is going on, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, so but you'll never have this with Thai. Nah, it'll be more like, I got this great food for you. Do you want to have it? Or you really like Thai noodles? And she'll say some kind of noodle that you don't understand. You're like, yeah, I like it. And you like it with a little bit of this kind of coconut
cow
curry.
Pot, beef cow pot, chicken cow pot. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And do you like it? Yeah. Like, do you understand the difference between Thai rice and Japanese rice? Or she'll ask you that kind of question. And then she'll make something for you that it looks exotic, tastes wonderful. You need a lot of water to drink it, to eat it. And then you're looking at her like, where are you from? This is good stuff, man. Like, I feel pretty good.
Like you said, Theo, about the smells, right? About the scent. It's like the DNA being far away, right? They smell so good. And what's really good about the Thai women is right when they're cooking, the food smells so good, and then they smell good and mix it with the food. You can't get it's like being with a Korean smelling good, but then the kimchi's in the air. But it's exotic. It's just real. I can't explain it, man. Even the Japanese, they just smell so good because they're so far away DNA-wise.
You learn to like the kimchi, and then you smell her. I'm glad you said that because when I was talking about that, I didn't say it, but that's exactly what I was thinking.
Right?
I was like, you smell her, and then you smell the food, and you're like, I'm done. This is it. I am sold. Like, this is exactly the way I want it for the rest of my life.
It's so unique. It's like the cologne they wear, the perfume they wear, mixed with the kimchi or mixed with the pad thai in Thailand or mixed with Japanese. Their foods don't usually smell on them much. They don't like a Japanese woman does not like a house smelling with food that she cooked. Their foods after they're cooked, the smell is gone. After you eat it, it's gone. But you can walk into a Thai house or an Indian house, as we all know, smell like curry. Thai will smell like pad thai or cow pot. And the Korean house will smell like kimchi. But it's a certain exoticness to it. And a Filipino will smell like pancit. But it's a certain exoticness to it, man. You're like, why am But this woman smells good, but then the food tastes good, it smells good. But it's just hard to explain, man.
Yeah, but it's addictive. You don't want to go
Yes.
after. You don't want anything after that. And then, of course, you come back to the States afterwards, right? Great. And when you're in the Western world, and you're looking at like what we have here, we're like, yeah, you're boring, man. Like
Yep. And they
this is not.
stink, man.
They stink. Exactly. They stink. That's the whole DNA thing. And you're like, I know what a good smelling woman was like. It's not you. Like,
Yep.
I remember like getting a tie. She'd be like, "What should I wear?" And I said, "Just let me smell your hair and say my name. That's good. Like,
Yes.
that's it. That's all I need."
Yes, because their hair smells so good, so soft. It's like, oh,
Oh my god, yeah. And it's amazing. And then you smell her, and then she has her eyes, and it's like, oh
you're
man,
done. You are, fellas, you are done. But like I
it's
said, if you
done.
have the wealth, though, if like Theo was saying, if you man up and you have the wealth, basically, like I said, they're like a cat. So you know how you got to do a cat, right? I've had cats a few times. You got to always lead that cat. You got to keep that cat going around in circles to keep it. Because once the cat gets out that circle, it's gone forever. And it ain't coming back, and you won't be able to find it, and numbers will be disconnected. That is a Thai female in a nutshell.
Yeah, I gotta admit, yeah, you have to keep them entertained. But yeah, if you're able to maintain that frame, if she sees that there's no way she can get a better guy, and you've got it, then it's going to be good. So the local Thai girl that I'm talking about, the whole problem is her husband isn't working hard enough to provide for her. And from what she was able to tell me about, I was like, this guy, he's probably happy he has an exotic Thai wife. He's having his fun, and then he's expecting her to contribute. He's like, well, you're here, you need to pay, because I'm not going to pay for everything. And I'm like, that ain't going to work.
No.
Not going to work long term. She's going to jump, right?
Yep. But Theo, you know what's funny? You just remind me of something, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm talking to one of the brothers in the group, and I gave him some intel. He's basically sent me some copies of a text that this Japanese girl was sending him, and he had mentioned, oh, you know, I don't have enough money for that date, but let's talk about further on down the road. And immediately I said, brother, never, ever mention money with these females. Never. When you're going through Tinder or Facebook or social media apps, never mention anything about funds. You never talk about that because you don't want them to start painting a picture of you, because they'll paint a picture of you and then they'll go to the next guy who doesn't say nothing about it, could be even worse off than you, but they're going to go for him because they're curious. You never discuss that. And me and Theo are going to do this too, right? We're going to do the theme on how to vet. I think it's me. I'm not sure, but we got to teach you also how to vet these females when they come into the U.S., how to ask the questions, how to ask the body count question. The body count question will mainly be, hey, so how do you like Western guys? You've been here a couple of years. How do you like Western men? Then they will tell you, because it worked. I told the dude to do that, and he got the intel on her body count just by her answering the question. So when you get these females, see, this we're not up here for games, brothers. We are not up here for games. This is not just a Cinderella show. IP and Theo and I and Sean Camp and these brothers, Jay Bones, we put this platform up here, man. IP put the platform up here, but we get up on here day after day after day, whatever we get a chance, because we are giving you some serious intel, and neither one of us are getting paid for this. IP deserves to get what he's getting because he's up there he's putting in his long hours. We're here because as high value males, we want to be useful to other high value males, and we're volunteering for this. That's why we're here. So don't never get it twisted, brothers. We are here. This is a serious platform, and we are here to give you some serious intel. Theo does not have to be up here right now. He's a high-paid individual like myself. We don't have to be up here, but we are supporting the cause because we see potential in all of this. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Exactly correct, and that's why I'm having my conference in Orlando. In order to give, again, I talked to IP about it. We already have a section on there for International Passport. And it'll be focusing directly on these kinds of issues and what you really need to be doing in order to do the international, how you need to be thinking. You cannot lose frame. It will not work. And the thing is that you're going to be an American. That's the first thing. You're going to be an American. And she's going to think that you're already successful. Yep. And so, but successful to her doesn't mean successful to you. It's not $300,000 a year. Successful means that you can pay the rent, you can pay the whatever car it needs to be done, all the bills, you can pay for all the dating. And she's going to expect you to be able to do that, especially if you can afford an airplane ticket to her country. And so if you start talking being cheap with her, it's gone. You've already lost.
Yep.
It's just forget it. Like, why are you there? Like, go back home.
Pookie and Ray Rays don't get on planes and go all the way to Thailand, Singapore. Right. I'm telling you, brothers, if you walk down the street in Bangkok, I've never been to Bangkok, but I've been to a lot of places in Southeast Asia, and they're pretty much about the same type of setup. If you've ever walked down the street in Singapore and seen these females, and you dress nice the way they look at you, and they expect you to be successful, trust me, it's a beautiful feeling, because they know for a man to get on the airplane and fly 10 hours to Tokyo and then 7 hours from Narita down to Singapore, that is a big trip, brothers, that you're making. Okay, you ain't just going over there just to sell them. Oh, I'm on the budget now. I can't pay for your dinner. I can't pay for this. No, they're not expecting that.
No, exactly. Even in Singapore, it's like $5-6 for a decent meal, and then Thailand's pretty much the same thing, and you're going to be totally full, so you can't pay that for her as well. She's going to be like, what the heck? And she's not going to be asking you for designer anything or any like clothes or anything like that. It's not materialistic. It's just like, hey, to take me out. So if you marry one of these women and you bring her over, she's going to think the exact same thing, and she's going to think also that you can pay for her airplane ticket.
That's right. Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So the whole thing is that, again, we're going to make the stream about this. We're going to talk about it a little bit right now. Is you need to have a game plan in place when you go to that country. Is can you afford her ticket back? And if you have a problem doing this, and you can also the first 2 months, can you afford all expenses for the first 2 months and pay for her feminine things that she needs when she comes back goes to your country? If you can't, if you don't have any idea, like this is too complex of an issue, then you're looking at a loss of frame when you go to that country.
Yeah, because the thing that Theo, right? You remember this, brother? I know you remember this, man. I know you because you've been in Japan as long as me, man. Hey, you know how when you first brought your wife back to the U.S. or Japanese girls over here or dating them there, what's the thing that Japanese girls love to do? They can't get away from a drugstore.
I know.
Right?
You have that too?
Yes, because they have to buy the cosmetics, like a Walgreens or a Rite Aid or something like a local drugstore. If it's got cosmetics or like facial stuff, they got it, hair care, they got to go in and get that, brothers. And trust me, if you ain't got the money, you're going to be hurting because you're going to be walking around that aisle with them and you're going to be hoping that they don't spend no more money.
Yeah. No, I had that on my wedding, my honeymoon. We were in Zurich. And she went to the pharmacy. I was like, what are you doing? And she started buying everything. I'm like, looking at her, what the heck? And then when we went to America together for the first time, I went to my university. She went right into Walgreens. I was like, even when I was in undergrad, I didn't go to Walgreens. What are you doing? And she went in there and just started buying all kinds of stuff. And I was like, are you serious? She's like, no, I have to compare it. Like, how is this with America versus Japan versus France? I want to know like how this really works. And it really was. It was an innocent thing. It wasn't like the stuff.
It's innocent. Yeah.
Right. But if you're not able to pay for all this stuff, she's gonna look at you like, "What do you mean you can't pay for it?" Like,
to
her,
like they never heard of that. They never heard of you not being able to pay, a man not being able to pay for their cosmetics and stuff. And like Theo said, it's totally innocent. It's not like they're demanding it. But it's like, hey, it's like water. It's like drinking water. Like, okay, great. I'm going to go to the store and get my stuff. Here it is. Okay, thank you. But if you're sitting in line scratching your head, sweating, oh my God, how much money did she spend? Oh, do I have it on my card? That is not a good feeling, brothers. And you will not last with that woman no matter what. Even if she's Japanese, you won't last with her that long.
No, you won't last at all. Yeah.
Hold on, brothers.
And that's what, yes.
Shout out to IBE for the $99 super chat. It says, thank IP and the panel, great show. I would like to touch base with Theo. Join the Facebook group IB and search for the name Theo WAF. That's the exact name on Theo. Send him a message on the Facebook Messenger and reach out to Theo through there. Shout out to IB for the $99 super chat. Much appreciated, brother. Shout out to DJ Kazan for the $5 super chat. He says, I missed most of the stream, but I want to travel to Asia and I want to start looking for a woman. Thailand or Japan? Oh, good question for both Theo and Tony.
Okay, so if I remember what Theo said, right, I'm not gonna speak to Theo. He's a man. I gotta speak to his brother. He's gonna say what he wants to say. But here's what I'm thinking. I remember what Theo said before about this. Look, ties are iffy. You have to be careful with ties. They're lookers. Look, I get an experience that I had with I had a lot of experience with ties. But I remember when I was in Saudi Arabia, and there was a lot of Thai women on the compound, man. And I remember literally walking up to my house, and this Thai girl was married, had a kid, and she was riding on her bicycle. She must have been about like 22, 23 years old. Fine. I mean, she was beautiful, gorgeous. And she was riding on her bike. Like, you know how you see in the movie Boys in the Hood, how they be riding on the bike in the hood. She was doing that and coming closer to me and like, hey, what's going on? Well, she wanted to come to my house and get it on. And this girl was married, but I was going to have nothing of it because I don't touch married girls. I have my own setup, right? I don't touch them. But man, they're so, if they're not satisfied with what they have in the least bit, or like you said, if you lose that game, they're out there looking. In my opinion, I would say long-term, pound for pound, if you want a woman that's going to be there for you through thick and thin, you should go Japanese. You don't have to work as hard, you know, and you got to have that wealth.
Yeah, the thing with Japan is, I definitely agree with that. So you have to really be thinking about your cash flow and how you're going to survive in Tokyo or Osaka, and you have to have some sort of game plan. And this isn't an area like Japan isn't someplace like I'm going to go there for a week and check it out. No, it ain't going to work because you're not going to get anywhere. And what they're going to do, so the Japanese were going to do it, is they're going to put you into a bubble, and they're going to give you certain kind of information to make the Japanese look good, so that when you leave, you're more likely to buy Japanese products. That's it. Yep. And so you're going to leave out there thinking things are great, but you never knew what was going on. You actually need to have a game plan where you're there for at least 2 months, if not a year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking about, like, you're actually getting money there and you're supporting yourself there. And see, then you're going to be able to talk to more women, and then you get to do the fundamental failures of understanding, like, where you did something stupid as a Westerner. And then you're going to be able to start really getting into the women. The only way that you can avoid that is if you kind of like Sean, because Sean's traveled all over the world. Yeah. So if you have the ability to know how not to act like a jerk, then you can go in there pretty fast and deal with the women. But you still have to have the game plan of making money locally. Whereas with Thailand, you're not going to make money locally. That's out of the question.
Those wages are too low.
Wages are too low. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. So you're gonna be doing a remote job, or you're gonna be bringing all the money with you. All the money with you is not optimal. So you're gonna be working remote. But if you do work remote, your options will be amazing.
Yes, yeah. And the thing about that too is if like my plan, I worked in Japan when I lived in Japan, of course, but the next time that I would take up occupancy in Japan, and my wife and I think about this all the time, we're going to do it. We're actually going to keep our home here and spend probably 8 months in the U.S. and 4 months in Japan, or 7 and 5, whatever the case may be, because we never have to work. If you don't have to work in Japan, if you don't have to live on that economy, if you don't have to get money from the local companies, and you were able to work remotely or get your money from other sources of income, you are going to live well anywhere. And we know we talk a lot about Japan, but keep in mind, this plays pretty much any country you go. You gotta have that source of income to where you can set up camp anywhere you want. You might want to stay in the West and check for like a month, right, while you work remotely, or you might want to stay at a hotel in Berlin for 2 months, while you set up. And we have people in our group who are saying, "Oh, I went to a couple bars and nothing happened." You can't create things. You cannot judge a place by 2 bars in a megalopolis of 30 million people. That does not say. Yeah, we know the women are going to fall all over you, but you got to put in the creativity. We're in the middle of a pandemic. You have to get creative in your processes. You really do.
That's exactly correct. And you need to understand. You need to understand not only local game, but you need to be able to be street smart. So, for example, let's think about this real quick. Let's say that we're in London, and there was a restaurant, and you look in, and everyone is like older white. Well, would you go in there? Well,
Nope.
I wouldn't go in there. I'd be like, yeah, it's a hard pass, because there's a lot of cultures and ethnicities in London. So if they're able to manage all white people in there, okay, I don't know why, but I'm good. I'm going to keep on going someplace else. Well, if you're in Japan, right, or any other place, but if you're particularly in Japan, and you look in and there's not one international person at all, it's all like a certain age group, a certain age range, and there's no English, it's just all Japanese, and it doesn't, like, nobody's recommending the area. Maybe you should avoid that place,
Yes.
because you're not going to make it there, and you kind of don't belong there. Instead, go someplace else. And this thing I learned very quickly in Japan, like, you need to know where you should go and where you belong. So this is why, again, on my stream I said go to Roppongi, because they're ready for foreigners there.
Yes,
they know who
they
you are,
Yep.
right?
And they're
And they
ready
know how
to
to fit.
smash.
Right.
Yep.
So in Osaka, if I were there, again, because I only went to Osaka limitedly, but if I went there, I'd go to Minami.
Nami, yep. American Mura, Shinsai Bashi, Mido Suji, you're set. Doton Booty, you're in the house.
Right.
Yes.
They
Yeah, I
I'm
know
gonna be
Osaka
there.
because I lived in Osaka 4 years. Yes, exactly.
Right.
See?
And so if I got
Yes.
there and if I had some fun, I'm like, I got some Kentucky Fried Chicken. All right, okay. Like, I mean, it's a joke, but I mean, they'd be like, oh, you stupid American, I'll come over here and get drunk with us, right? So,
Yep. But you know what, though, Theo? Remember this? I know you remember this. And I was going to tell this to this brother that's over there now. If you want to meet the girls, you got to go to the fast food restaurants in Japan, because a lot of the younger girls go to those fast food places. They go to the Kentucky Fried, they go to the McDonald's, they go, because those places are much better. I would never go to a McDonald's in the U.S. ever, but I don't even go to fast food restaurants. But I will venture once in a while to one in Japan. Moss Burger, McDonald's,
Moss Burger.
Kentucky Fried, Moss Burger. Oh my goodness. Yes, See, we get to the Japanese there. See that memories bring back. But that's where you want to meet the girls, man. You got to go like Mr. Donut. Oh, I'm a Mr. Donut freak, man. You go there. The young college girls go there because all they gotta do is spend a little $5. They get the coffee and 3 donuts. They're good to go, and they sit there and talk for hours.
Yeah.
But
Also,
gotta know where to go.
Also, izakayas.
Yes, izakayas are on.
Izakaya. So that's the thing that I was thinking. Like, he was talking about, he was in Shibuya, and I was like, why are you going to a club in Shibuya when they got all those izakayas?
Yep.
Right. So that's where you should go. And then while you're there, you should be talking to people locally and just kind of like having some fun. I would never go to a club, but izakaya, that's where it gets down. And you're exactly right. Moss Burger? Are you kidding me?
Because you got the cashiers ready to go out with you. You got the people that's frequent in there. You got an abundance of females to choose from in those places.
Yeah, it's easy, and you don't have to do it in the central part of the city. You go to the outskirts.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're like, wow, there's actually a foreigner here. Great, we're going to talk to you, and they'll definitely talk with you, and it's a great experience. Well, this is why you have to, again, guys, if you're going to go out, like in Japan, particularly because you have us here, we're actually watching the Facebook groups. Yeah. And you're like, hey, I'm going to be there. I need a specific plan. We can help you out and give you something tailored. Yes. But don't be there on this land and be like, okay, well, I'm going to go to a random bar in some place. And I could see, like, I'm going to go to Shinagawa and go to a bar. I'm going to go to Ikebukuro and go to a bar. I'm like, you're going to go to Ikebukuro and go to a bar? You have no idea what you're doing? Really?
No. Yeah.
Or I'm just going to go to Shinjuku and go to a bar. I'm like, do you know Kabukicho is there? Do you know what you're dealing with Kabukicho? No.
Money you're going to be spending on Kabukicho. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What is that? Sorry?
Kabukicho.
Where is that?
It's in it's in Tokyo.
I'll explain it because that was my first big shocker in Tokyo. So Shinjuku is one of the big 6 points in Tokyo, and in Shinjuku, in the north area, actually the northwest.
Nishiguchi exit.
Yeah, Nishiguchi exit, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's There is this place called Kabukicho, and it's massive. This is this huge area, and that's the red light district. And really, the further you go in, the deeper into hell you go.
Damn.
Because you start seeing things that you don't want to see. You're like, oh, what am I seeing here? What's going on? And then your ethics start being challenged real quickly. And you're like, why am I here? What's going on? And like, you understand, like, you thought that you were nasty. You didn't know what nasty meant.
No.
Right? And you're like, it's gonna, like, you start looking around like, where's the train station? I need to get out of here. Right? So yeah. So you need to be careful about that kind of stuff. And this is why I say, like, you need to talk with us first, because if you end up in Kabukicho, you're on your own. We can't help you.
No,
you're in trouble. You need to get out of there as soon as you can. I saw stuff in Kabukicho. I was like, oh man, God, I need to repent. Well, what did I see? That was just seeing it, not engaging, just looking like, ugh.
And the thing about it is too, is like, see, I know the brothers on the base, on in the military installation at Yokota. And so a lot of time what happens is guys on the base, they think the quickest, easiest way to go meet females is to show up at a club. That's their MO. They always do that. They will get dressed up to go to the club. They go to the club. Then they get disappointed. They're like, oh, the women aren't interested because they're not picking me up. Well, that's not necessarily the best place to go to meet a female, especially in Japan. Because some parts of Japan, and we're talking Tokyo, because they got 23 wards in Tokyo. This is a big megapolis, trust me, right? Shinjuku, Shibuya, these are basically different cities within a mega city. Okay, they have their own ward offices, or they call city offices, but they actually call them ward offices.
Kuyakusho.
Yep, Kuyakusho. They have their own Kuyakusho. Tokyo has a Shiakusho, but that's like the center of it all. Actually, it's a Fuyakusho. It's a Fuyakusho.
Yeah,
because it's a Tokyo Fuyakusho, right? So the thing is this: you may go to some parts of Tokyo, like Nihonbashi, right, and they won't even look at you. Because Nihonbashi is like a financial district. They're all business. They're walking back and forth. Especially if you're there like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're not going to get hardly no play. Because these women are not interested in you. They weren't interested in getting the job done. Now you go back there at Tokyo Station at 7 o'clock at night. Oh, it's going to be a totally different time. So it's not that they don't check out for you. It's you have to know the lay of the land. You have to know when's the right time to be in the right place. That plays a lot. I can't say that enough about being in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
hold on, Theo. Shout out to Sean M for the $5 super chat. He says the stream is classic. This is motivating me even more to do better. Thanks, guys. Thank you for the super chat, Sean M. So, brothers, I will stay on for 10 to 15 more minutes on this live stream. It's 5 a.m. over here in the UK. So, brothers, if you appreciate the time that I take to stay up this late, you will definitely cash out me some donations, super chat as well, because I'm putting in a lot of work, brothers, for you to navigate through this life, live a better life. I'm getting high value mails on panels to discuss this. So please feel free to hit the cash app, hit the super chat. You got 15 minutes to do so before I end this live stream. And if you have any questions, super chat or cash up your questions. Let me bring in Theo to finish his point. What was that, Theo? Carry on, bro.
Okay, so basically, again, one of the best areas in Tokyo, what I said in my stream was that if you want to actually start engaging with women in a party environment, it's going to be in Roppongi. But you need to know which side of Roppongi to go to. This is highly important, because if you don't know which side and then you don't know exactly which area, you're gone. So you're not going to really be making it. And then you need to get some sort of localized idea of what's going on at that time. So if you don't do that, then you're exactly right what you said. You need to know what times to go. So, for example, later at night, in Shibuya, AB Shibuya, Shinjuku, Harajuku, and Ikebukuro. That's one train line with the Yamanote. If you're going there past 7 o'clock and then you're walking down the street, you're probably going to get some sort of play. You're going to be able to talk with women, and you're going to go to fun places where they're looking. And also on the weekends, not at night necessarily, but during the day. You have plenty of women out there who are actually going to be able to, who will be interested in talking with you. But you just, you don't, you're not going to walk into an area which is obviously Japanese only at that time, because they're going to go look at you like, who the hell are you? And the only reason that you're going to go into that kind of area is if you're actually married to a Japanese woman and you're a part of the community at that point. But you're just coming off the airplane, when I say off the boat. You need to have more information, have more of a long-term strategy. The same thing for Thailand, but this is in particular for Tokyo. So what you're going to want to do is get an apartment there, or what we call a gaijin house, a guest house. You're going to be wanting to just chill out. It's just a one-room place, and it's enough to sleep in, has strong walls. That's good enough. You're not going to be thinking about smashing. You're going to be thinking about going out and actually meeting the women and talking to them. And you need to actually get some knowledge of what's going on locally. And that's where things are going to start working. Because you might, again, at that point, we can start giving you really good advice. Like, okay, well...
sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Girls in different... I know, I'm like, what's going on with Siri? Okay, so girls, it matters in what area of Tokyo that you're dealing with. You got different girls, right? That's why I recommended Kanagawa, because that area is the most open. First, I'm concerned, the most open to black men.
Right.
You didn't tell me that, Theo.
No, he's right.
Yeah, this Kanagawa, Kawasaki, they're just into black men.
You got the base around. You got the Yokosuka Air Navy base around there, and Atsugi too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one area you want to focus on. But I wouldn't tell you to go live there. I'd say go live in Tokyo and then go take the train down there during the weekends and then come back up. That's the way I would approach it. Again, kind of goes back and forth. That's why you kind of need, like, in one way, a tailored solution. We need to give that, kind of like deliver that so you can figure out how to do it. Or else, if you just think you're just going to go there, like, say, for a week, you're just a tourist. It's like being in New York for a week. Who cares?
Theo, I thought you said we should avoid army bases like Kanagawa, because the women that have high body counts go after a lot of Western men. Unless I'm mistaken, there.
You don't want to go across the street from Yokosuka.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
All of Kanagawa, I'm just thinking, those women there, even with Japanese men, these women are prolific. So they're definitely hunting you down. Those women want a man. Right?
Yeah.
So they're the easiest.
Are they high value, Theo, those women there in Kanagawa? I don't want no chick that only wants West women, like gaijin hunters, like in Shibuya or out there in Okinawa. I want a pure, clean-cut Japanese woman that is high value, blah, blah, blah. Speak on that, Theo and Tony.
He wants Fukuoka.
Yeah. Here's the thing you need to know too, IP. And I know what Theo means about the Kanagawa girls, because I know I've been hit on by a lot of girls from Yokohama. The thing is this. You got to understand, these women don't necessarily, around the bases, yes, they have the high body count, but Kanagawa is not only all base. Okay, Yokohama's it's like the second largest city in Japan. Some people think it's Osaka, but it's actually Yokohama, right? So you have a lot of different types of occupations, different type of people there, right? So keep in mind, like I said before in another street, a Japanese woman may go out with her friends to a club to meet a Westerner, or to this place to meet a Westerner. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to meet the Westerner. They're worse than the baseball average. They're only batting, if they're lucky, about an 80, not a 320, not a 350, not a 400. They're batting 0.80 or less in order to meet a man. But the women in that prefecture, Kanagawa, they are very aggressive toward not just Western men, but Japanese men. Because there's so much, because you know why? Because it's so compact. There's so much competition. They use the same stations all the time. Tokyo is spread out. So you can go to a station every day and never see the same person. But Yokohama, you'll see the same. So just imagine yourself in London. You're going to Trafalgar Square, and you see the fashion, and you see the guys dressed nice all the time. And they go to the same stations you pretty much go to. You're going to want to do that too, because you know you have to do that to be competitive.
Yo, this Kanagawa. So go on. Hold on, Sean Camp. Sorry, brother. Got a couple of super chats here. Shout out to DJ Kazan for the $5 super chat. My job is sending me to Berlin and then Japan when COVID allows. I have friend and family in Kanagawa, so I will do my best to migrate to Japan soon. Okay, brother, love hearing that. Shout out to DJ Kazan again for the $2 super chat. Thank you, bro, for the support. Much appreciated, brother. Thank you. He says, anyway, I can get in contact with Theo and Tony. Yes, you can. Join a Facebook group, brother. Tony Berry is his name on the Facebook group, and it's Theo WAF in the Facebook group. Reach out to them directly. They'll get back to you. Shout out to DJ Kanzen for the super chats. Shout out to Blue Collar Hero for the $10 super chat. He says, this is awesome intel. I'm in Seattle and have to head to Japan or Singapore. By the way, Theo and Tokyo, did you guys go to Japan knowing the language, or did you learn after you went? Speak on that very briefly, brothers, very briefly.
You, Johnny.
Yeah, so I didn't start. I was learning a little bit before I went to Japan, but when I got there, I was in the service at first. I was learning Japanese in college, but when I went back to teach, that's when I really picked it up, because I was working in Osaka, and before that I was working in a small prefecture, Mie, and you had to speak Japanese. Yes, you have to speak it. So that's where I really picked it up.
So for myself, I already could read and write 3,000 kanji before I left. So when I arrived there, I was ready to go. I knew what I was having to do. Largely did English in the beginning, but where I really picked up Japanese was in Kanagawa, of all places. That's because I was teaching English out there, and I was teaching English with the kids, and they would speak in Japanese the entire time. Like, I could barely get them speaking English. So they taught me Japanese. Like, I picked it up. Yeah. And after that, like, I was making, like, off-the-cuff, like, jokes and stuff in offices. Like, how do you know that? I knew, like, really colloquial, like, kid-level Japanese. Like, why do you know that? Like, I taught kids. So, yeah, I know what to say. I know how to do a real insult to you. You know, and I shouldn't know that.
Yeah, he's right, because when I was teaching in Osaka, I picked up Osaka Ben, what they call Osaka Ben. So my wife freaks out because I can speak Osaka dialect. Like in Japanese, they'll say wakara nai, but Osaka they'll say wakara hen. And they'll say sei hen, you know, stuff like that. Mie hen. You know, they use that a lot. Deki hen, you know. And the soya na, you know, so as compared to, you know, the so this ne, or, you know, the dayo ne. So it's you pick up the dialect of the local area that you live in. I can even speak Hogan, like Okinawa and some of that, like, you know, and that's not a dialect. That's actually totally different language. So,
right.
Right.
So
they have a lot.
So the national language of Japan is actually Tokyo Ben, which is like the Tokyo language. But everybody in Tokyo speaks Yokohama Ben. So they speak it for the Yokohama method because I think it's cooler. So that's because I was in Kanagawa. I was actually speaking the real Ben, the real dialect that they spoke in Tokyo, and that's how I was able to get ahead. That was a really cool experience. I look back, I was miserable when this happened, but that was a really good experience.
I even learned from my wife, like Niigata has their own dialect too, right? So like Niigata, they see their friends and say Yahoo, Yahoo. You know, like, you know, in Japan say, oh, Ohio, Yahoo.
That makes sense.
In Okinawa, that's a different language, but they'll say, you know, like what they say, Ichiban Saiben, yan. It's almost like Yahoo, you know, which means like, oh, the weather's nice today. Yan means so is ne. See, so it's so many different languages, dialects in Japan, man.
So
thank you for that. Appreciate that.
I'll just say this. Okay. You first.
Oh no. Sorry, bro. You want to say something, bro? Theo, before.
Okay, so my wife, she spoke Nambu Ben. That's in Hachinohe. So that was be at the end of everything. So like dekiru dayo be, like oishi dayo be, dekinai dayo be.
Like, sa, right? How much is right?
Hey, and I was like, "Are you serious?" So when we went on the Shinkansen, we would start with her being educated, and then Shinkansen, she'd become a totally nakape, like total country girl at the end of Shinkansen. Like I'm looking at her like, what kind of country chick are you? She's like, I'm gonna act like a country girl now. That's where she was. I mean, I was like, all right, good, I'm good with it.
All right, thanks for that, brothers. Sean Cam, you want to say one last thing, bro?
I'm glad you guys brought up the army base situation. Because you know what, I forgot to say something. And this goes along with the vetting process. If a Thai chick tell you she been in Bahrain, you better throw her away immediately because they have a big U.S. base over there, and a lot of Thais go over there to work. They also have other nationalities or whatever, but if they been over there, the body count's going to be high. When y'all brought up the Navy base, that's made me, reminded me of that because they would travel back and forth from Thailand to Bahrain. They would stay in Bahrain for 6 months, then come back to Thailand. But say like if you met her, you might not know that. So that would have to be part of your vetting process. Be like, hey, have you ever been to Bahrain? Just straight up ask them. Yeah, and if they say yeah, be like, oh, okay, you can, act like you gonna talk to her, then just never hit her up no more. But when you guys brought up the army base situation, that reminded me of that. That's that's something you want to watch out for too.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Sean Camp. Much appreciated, brother. Theo and Tony, when you brought up Kanagawa, it kind of brought some memories because I did meet a Japanese chick a couple of years back that was from Kanagawa, and she was different, feminine, good looking. I was like, oh, damn. But, when I researched it further, I was like, oh, there's an army base here. But you're saying there's more to the army base than in Kanagawa. So, brothers, you telling me, right, if a brother went to Tokyo literally next week to live there for a year, he should be traveling to Kanagawa frequently on the weekends. Saturday morning, get the Shinkansen train to Kanagawa, spend 8 hours there, mingle with the woman, come back there to Tokyo in the night, do it again on Sunday.
All he needs to do, he needs to go to Tokyo Station and then just take the direct train to Yokohama Station. And then he just gets out of Yokohama Station, starts walking around, goes to the Watermark Tower, things like that. And then from there, start mingling, start figuring things out and getting local knowledge. So
Morimoto, Chinatown, stuff like that. Yeah.
Chinatown's the bomb. It is wonderful. It is an experience. And the women that you meet there, that's when I was meeting women in izakayas around Chinatown, I was sitting back and I was like, are you kidding me? This is beyond good. And the women were aggressive. They knew you're a foreigner, and they're like, yeah, if you're doing anything well at all, like, again, I told you, I didn't really start dating in Japan until I was 26 years old. I got there, I was 24. I didn't start really dating until I was 26. I was in Kanagawa, Yokohama area, and that's where I exploded. It was just unlimited dating. I couldn't stop. And I turned 27 years old. I understood what was going on. That's why I was total jerk. Oh my goodness! I was making $85,000 a year. I was like, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen. That's what happened. That's when they're crazy. Yeah, that was when the real story started happening. So, again, that's my real recommendation. You want to stay at a guest house, in kind of an easy place in Tokyo, because it's centralized. You've got all the services there. You've got everything that you need. It's just Tokyo. You're able to get employment, but you may want to do, for example, something like kind of like I did. You might want to have English teaching job in Kanagawa on the weekend.
Yeah, I used to do the weekend stuff too.
Yeah, and then you will get some of the most fly girls in there, some of the most feminine girls who come in and like, I'm 22 years old, I want to get a family. She's not joking. She's actually looking for a husband. Yeah.
22, like, nice.
Yo.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to put Kanagawa on my list. Sorry, carry on, bro.
Bouncing, firm, has a good shake to it, nice hair, laughing all the time, smiling. You're like, what? See, I didn't understand this stuff until I got married. So I looked back and I was like, what was I doing? I didn't fully understand what was going on. I didn't know how many women were going after me until I really got married. And I was like, oh, now I understand. Like, I just missed out on Kanagawa. I could have just been down there and been an animal savage. I could have been going through these chicks like crazy. Yeah, you're in a superior position in Kanagawa. I'm just straight out saying But you want to live in Tokyo.
Yeah. But
Okay.
if you're in there, Tokyo, though, you also want to, like, if you're gonna be there 6 months, you want to venture out to other areas too, other prefectures: Kanagawa, Niigata, Sendai, Tohoku, where your wife is from. They got some beautiful women up there, very friendly too. I spent almost
Sendai.
a month up there. Oh man,
Oh,
and they're tall, milky white skin, long, sexy hair, beautiful bodies. I mean, yeah,
And they're
and
checking for brothers out there in Sendai.
yeah, of course, everywhere,
oh.
all over Japan, all over Japan.
All over Japan. Yeah, Sendai
Yeah.
got some babes.
Yep.
Yeah, so my wife, she graduated from Sendai University, so we would
Oh.
go there sometimes on the weekends and just go look around, like where she used to be and stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, I keep my eyes straight. Look at her, look at her.
Yeah.
Look,
Yep.
there's another good looking one. Oh my God, they're like all over the place. Like, what's going on? Do they have like a factory or something?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, brothers, thank you very much for this great live stream. We have another live stream, Theo and Tony, later on this week. Looking forward to that. So
Yep.
we can definitely delve on more on these cities. That's going to be a long, powerful live stream. We'll be speaking about how to seal the deal with Japanese women, and then we'll start talking about cities, jobs, and everything. I'm looking forward to it. Theo, before I end the stream, Theo, were you earning 85K as an English teacher or working in IT when you were 27?
How much? 85K?
Yeah.
That was IT.
Okay, I
IT,
see. Because
yeah,
English
IT.
teacher, I was thinking that's
Yeah.
very high for English teacher. I've never heard that before.
No,
Thanks
you
for that,
won't.
Theo.
You won't make that. You won't make that as an English teacher. The max you can make as an English teacher realistically is 60,000. Maybe a little bit more if you're like, okay, you got privates and you're working like 7 days a week.
Sort of like I was doing when I was there. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks for that, brothers. Ninja55, I've just seen you join the stream. Shall I add you in? It's pretty late here. I need to go to bed. All right, Ninja55, what do you want to say, brother, real quick?
Hey, what's up, IP Passport? Hey, what's up, brothers? How y'all doing?
What's up, bro?
All good, brother.
Doing
How you
good.
keeping, man?
I'm just make this quick. I know I'm late about the Thailand, but I've heard that I want to go to Thailand, but they got the lady boy problem over there, though.
Oh no, yeah, we've addressed that already in Ninja55, haven't we, Theo?
Yeah,
addressed it throughout the stream.
we've definitely addressed it. We're saying we're located in Bangkok, so you're not going to be really dating in Bangkok now. Sean, if you look back on the video, Sean gave us more information about Bangkok and how to date there. So again, I provided quite a lot of information in the stream about how to deal with the Transformers.
Yeah.
Oh,
you.
so they got their own.
Yeah. So Ninja55, please watch the stream again from the beginning, bro. We've already addressed that, but I know you're late here, but we have addressed that throughout the stream, bro. Thank you so much for calling in, bro. I would let you speak longer, but I'm so tired, bro. Okay, brother? Enjoy your day, brother. I'm sorry, bro.
All right.
Sorry. No
No
worries,
problem.
bro. So, Sean Camp, do you have any last statements, brother? I'll let you speak for a couple more seconds, bro.
Oh yeah, just wanted to thank you again, man. It's always a pleasure to be on with Theo and Tony. Just great intel, and like I said before, no matter how much you travel, you can always learn something. And every time I get on this panel, I just learn. You guys just kicked a little bit more about Japan that you didn't speak about on the other streams. So I'm just learning more and more. I just want to thank you guys, and IP man, just keep up the good work. I love what you're doing, brother.
Thank you so much, Sean Camp. Appreciate the kind words, bro. All the best to you, bro, and sending good wishes and wealth, health your way, brother. Thank you, Sean Camp.
Thank you.
Tokyo 64. Do you have any closing statements, brother?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, brother. Thanks out to Theo. Much love, man. Much love to IP, Sean Camp, all the brothers on the panel, man. That's all I say, man. Get some rest. I'm looking forward to doing the next stream, brother.
Thank you very much, Tokyo 64. Theo WAF, do you have any closing statements, brother?
Look, I totally liked it. Good seeing you again, Tony. It's been a lot.
Brother.
So yeah, this is something we're going to be moving on. We're going to be promoting this even more. And again, we want to have more successes. So we want to see, again, Tony's family. We want to see that positive image of the successful Black man, high-value Black man who has a successful family. We're going to keep promoting this on this channel. And I'm probably gonna get hooked soon enough because again, some Thai girl will get me or Brazilian, so I'm not gonna be able to do it, or I'll find myself in Kanagawa and boom, I'm gone. So, so it's just a question of time before I actually get remarried. Look, guys who are watching this, talk to us on Facebook. But we got to talk to you about realistic. Keep on watching on those streams. We'll show you how to do this, but you have to work for it. You got to do the work. If you do the work, the woman on the other side is worth it. Okay, guys? Thanks, IP.
Thanks. Awesome. Great work, Strong Camp, Tony, and Theo. Much appreciated, brothers. Thank you for contributing to the discussion and every other live streams. Brothers, again, please support the channel by commenting once this video drops on my YouTube channel. And again, brothers, you know, it's 5:30 a.m. over here in the UK. You know, the cash apps, the super chats would be greatly appreciated to validate the hard work I put in for this channel over the past 5 years now. And I've been on this passport women for more than 5 years, but I started documenting my journeys since 2017. So brothers, please support the movement. You know, I'm out here working hard every day, getting new people on my channel, giving you brothers this intel. And again, me, Tony, and Theo will be doing a lot more streams of Japanese on Japan. I think it's needed. So that'll be the club life, that'll be jobs, that'll be women, that'll be cities, that'll be Sendai, Kanagawa, Osaka. We're going to go proper in depth, you know, to get you prepared when you go to Japan, because I feel like it's the main country most brothers are focused on and they really want to get out there. So if we can get a bunch of educated brothers out there with all the information they know, they're going to kill it with the Japanese women. I'm telling you, brothers. Shout out to Conrad Grant for the $2 super chat. He says, IP, the stream was flames. Thank you so much, bro, for the kind words, brother. It is much appreciated. Brothers, my cash app is open 24/7, so feel free to support the channel once I end the stream. Thank you, brothers. I hope you all have a great night, great afternoon, or great day wherever you are around the world. And I will see you, brothers. What's that going on there? Oh, yeah, so brothers.
Get some rest, IP. Get some rest, man.
Yeah, get some rest, brother.
Yes.
Yep,
hold on,
get some
brothers.
rest.
So hold on, brothers. So we got a stream tomorrow as a reminder. Let me just double check. Sorry, brothers. I know I have a stream tomorrow. So we have a stream. No, so our next stream will be about how to make money and set up a food store. So again, brothers, I'm trying to get brothers to start thinking more about building wealth, building riches. So again, making your own food store, selling rice, selling burgers is a great avenue to make money. We're going to have a very intelligent brother that's making a lot of money doing that kind of work to supplement his first income. So that should be a very interesting stream. You know, these travel streams break records. There's always 100 people watching this. But guess what, brothers, right? When you travel to Japan, like Theo and Tony said, you need money, right? You need to support the woman. You need to support yourself. So please don't just ignore the financial streams. Those are very, very important. You know, Theo and Tony are high value males. You know, they're set, but we want all brothers to be set as well. And again, we need more brothers watching that stream, learning how to supplement their incomes and living great lives. Yeah, so I will definitely get Theo and Tony in the future to speak about financial successes, what you need to be doing to build your wealth, to build your riches, and actually to fund yourself abroad. So on that note, brothers, look after yourself, brothers, and I will see you all on my next live stream. Peace out, brothers.
All right, thanks, brothers.
Peace out.